some stuff. Yeah, the green white landfall deck, and
Okay.
that's interesting. And what else?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any in particular we can go through, or if you had any questions
Um.
about the deck or the list you were
Yeah.
playing.
We could play this. So yeah, let me show you the list I was playing real quick. I'm gonna pull it up. Give me a sec. I think it's on MTG Goldfish. Today's the 29th. Okay, so this is my list. This is the one I got. I took the same list to both events, so this is it right here.
Okay. Yeah, taking a look. Yeah, just I guess it's like 1 or 2 weeks before the Avatar stuff comes out, but it's like might as well play this format because you don't know how much it's gonna change. Kind of a funny time, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been keeping up with any of the spoilers. So since the last time we talked, so I'm not sure if anything interesting has come up that feels like it could at least change this archetype up. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be like a big rush to maybe get ahead of some of the new archetypes or updated archetypes. But for now, I think that the nice thing about this deck is it's really more about just like learning how to play like these cantrippy decks and also just improving fundamentals, like a lot of stuff we've been talking about around like mana efficiency and threat assessment and stuff like that. So I'm still getting a lot out of this, but I don't know. Like I'm hoping that the list for the most part just holds up in whatever meta we end up in. And if I'm comfortable with the deck and I'm able to just go in really comfortable with it, even if for some reason it doesn't turn out to be favored or something. I'm still pretty good with that.
Yeah, I mean this deck seems pretty powerful. It's yeah, I mean I guess that was kind of a random comment. That's just kind of what I was thinking was standard. It's like it's kind of funny because like in 1 to 2 weeks, uh, well there wasn't any spoilers because it's the like holiday break, I guess. So that's why it's kind of a
Uh,
short. That's part of why the spoiler season is going to be short, I think, because they might even have a lot of the sets spoiled by like basically January 5th, which is Monday, next month,
yeah,
next
that's
Monday,
crazy.
because that's when
Yeah,
it
it's pretty short.
stops. But yeah, we could take it. Like, I mean, one thing I was thinking, yeah, I had a couple thoughts. I mean, yeah, I felt like with the Iroh's demonstration, like I like, yeah, I could see trimming it because I feel like it might be kind of narrow. Like, it's
Yeah,
not that good in like every matchup. Like it's not that good in the mirror. It's not that good against Scam. It's not that good against Reanimator. So I could see like, maybe I would trim it. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. It depends how you feel about the removal stuff. Let me just see what else.
yeah, I can see that for sure. It's felt like it's basically a 2 mana deal 4 sorcery, like the only times that it's useful for me. I can't think of a single time that I've actually used the deal 1 damage effect. Um, like it hasn't come up often in at least in the matchups I've been playing. So that tracks for me. I could see it being replaced with something more impactful for sure.
Yeah, like as soon as Worlds happened, I was thinking like, oh yeah, they might want to trim their three Iris demonstration because it doesn't seem that good in the mirror. I mean, obviously you can wipe the otters, but that's not the most exciting thing necessarily. Then yeah, like I mean, I guess
Yeah.
not so. Yeah, I mean, one thing I did notice, I could just post a, like I did notice that some of the people were playing three Monument, one Ral, and I was like, oh, like maybe that kind of makes sense in the sense of like if you draw multiple monuments and you don't have a discard outlet, it could feel really awkward. So like maybe that's the reason to play three monuments in a row. So I could see considering that if you feel like you're drawing monument.
Yeah. I ran that for a while. I went back to 4 monument because um like I felt like if I'm gonna trim monument, I'd rather do it post board. And in game one, like I'm all in on my game plan, and not drawing monument like just felt kind of bad in some games. But I'm not sure if that's correct. But I mean, I wouldn't mind like going back and trying out three monument. I recently went back to it for these last events, but I was on three monuments pretty much the entire time since our last coaching session. Um, but yeah, it just there were games where I was looking for it and I felt like I could win if I found it and I just couldn't, or I found it too late and stuff like that. And so those game ones is where it felt really awkward, to like not have the fourth monument or to not improve my hit rate of drawing monument. But I don't know. I can see that. I know a lot of people playing Ral in place of the fourth monument main board nowadays, right?
Yeah, I haven't been playing that much standard last week because I was doing the directs, but it was like kind of interesting because at first
Yeah.
I was like, "What's this nonsense? Like, why are they playing three monument?" But then I was like, "Okay, like, yeah, monument. Sometimes if you don't have a way to like, it's just the exact situation where like, if you draw like two monuments and you don't have a way to discard, it could feel like so bad. So I mean, the question I would almost be asking more is like, is Ral like was Ral like bad for you? Because it's like they're kind of like a similar role of like being a win con, getting card advantage. One second, I'm just pulling
Yeah.
up the last list I had saved on Arena to take a quick look.
Yeah. All good.
Um,
Yeah, I'm probably playing incorrectly. I don't think Ral has been good for me. Like it's been a good distraction. Like it's like they got to deal with it, stuff like that. I don't think I've won with Ral a single time. Like I'll land it. I'll maybe get like a loot out of it or a super loot or whatever that is. With the draw three mode, discard two. Um, but like I there's not been a single game where I've played Ral and it won me or turned the game around and won me the game or like directly or anything like that. Like I didn't create otters with it and then just like swinging for lethal. But it's definitely served as like a kind of like a lightning rod. Like they start expending their resources to try to get it off the board. Maybe that's the correct role for it. But like it's not as impactful as Monument, and so I don't know. Granted, I haven't played many games. Like I went 5-2 at the standard challenge yesterday. I played, I think 6 rounds today. I did a little bit of laddering, so it's a pretty small sample size of games, and I'm not sure if I should be drawing conclusions, from such a small set of games. I guess.
Yeah. Well, I just mean like in the sense of like if you're like okay like the downside of playing like too many monuments is just like it's awkward if you don't have a discard outlet and it's like well the upside of Ral is that it can't be that dead but like the downside's like what if you play it it's just too bad because like maybe you're behind on board or it's 4 mana or whatever. Though
Yeah.
it is kind of nice that this deck is all non creatures. Like I was maybe I wanted to live back the Corey Steelcutter days because I was thinking about how nice Ral was in that deck because it was a prowess deck and I'm like, it is a prowess deck. But yeah, so I that's just one thing that I just
Yeah.
noticed, like was whatever. So that's one thing I keep in mind. And yeah, I mean I feel like decent like yeah, I have like I put a second quench in my list and like another abandoned attachments because just to like try
Yeah.
and hedge for like the blue, like the non-creature decks a bit. And I even cut down a little bit on some of the hard removal just because I felt like it might not be as good in like the overall meta now. But like again, this not to go too bogged in the list, but that was just some stuff I was trying. And then I guess my sideboard
Nice.
was like I was trying. Yeah, I put 1/1 the owl because it's good against landfall. It's just a meme, like it's good to put a little treat for yourself in the deck, I
Yeah.
guess. To look for a dream to look forward to. And yeah, and I mean I guess I shouldn't stream this. I was like, yeah, I put a lot of spell pierce because I thought it might be good in the mirror because the deck has no creatures in it.
Wow.
I've seen that,
Yeah.
but I'm taking this off. Take this off YouTube. Sorry, one second. No, just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I was just trying stuff. I didn't play on a standard, but that was just like stuff I was trying. And yeah, anyway, about the list, yeah, because like yeah, I was like I did feel like the force abandoned attachments. I mean, I was kind of going. You saw I was like hating on it, but then I was like, it makes the deck functional. I thought in the Steve
Yeah.
streaming, like it helps raise the floor of the deck, and the floor is pretty good. Because I mean, this deck it does feel pretty broken, when it's the mid game and you play Grand and all your stuff is discounted, or like you're on the play and you just go talent to monument, and it's like if they don't have removal, it's over. But it helps you,
Right.
do that stuff, and you're like a low curve deck. But anyway, so yeah, that's that. I guess we can get into it. Yeah, I was thinking the green white landfall deck seems like it could be a pretty tricky matchup to play in sideboard against, because like there's a lot of different stuff to fight over it's like not obvious which ones you're supposed to fight over. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of
Yeah,
different punishes they
for
can have.
sure.
Like even with the
So yeah,
landfall chocobo, like you tap out and then they go like chocobo fetch land out to 2/3. You can't you can't firebending less than it and whatever.
yeah, like they can one shot you out of nowhere. They can insulate their creatures out of nowhere. It's just like it's such a weird um
But yeah,
matchup.
and yeah
I'm not even sure which. Yeah. Okay.
and like they're what's it called? The lumbering broodwagon's like kind of hard to kill, but it's also like you could just counter it for 1 mana, or it's like slow if you stick a talent. Anyway, so yeah, we can
Yeah.
look into
Yeah.
the replay now.
That's the other thing. Like, I guess like annuls is the thing to play there. I'm not sure. But like, I don't know. Like, I have an abrade in my list. I mean, I guess like spell pierce would hit that, right? I'm looking at your list right now.
Yeah, or the annuls could be good. I mean, I was trying the landfall deck, and it has a lot of artifacts and enchantments. Because if you play the what's the other one, the Earthbender Ascension, that's an enchantment. If anybody plays Felidar
Right. Yeah.
Retreat, yeah, I was playing Felidar Retreat, so it's obviously good against Felidar Retreat. And like they might even have Soul Guide Lantern or Seam Rip or whatever. So
Yeah.
it could be
Yeah.
good.
And those
Depends on
feels
your
really
list.
good. Yeah. The abrade feels okay. Like, I don't like abrading. Like
After
the
they got
wagon
a land, yeah.
down. Yeah, they already got like an ETB out of it.
Yeah, so like they
But
don't
yeah.
really care. Yeah, I mean the wagon's the kind of card that it's like, oh, the downside of wagon is that it's slow, so like the best way to counter it is like by being aggressive kind of in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're not supposed to try and
Right.
interact with it.
Yeah.
Like the weakness of the card is that it's slow and you're supposed to push a threat against it. So like that's one thing about the green matchup because it's like, oh yeah, I want to like have some threats, but anyway, yeah, like yeah, so yeah. If this is my hand, you ever look at those hands and you're like, oh, just give me this hand every time. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
not perfect, but it's
this is
pretty
definitely
good.
one of those hands.
It's like,
I played
yeah,
it really weird, and I mean, you're probably gonna cringe when you see how I played this, but yeah, I mean, this is definitely like, I mean, to me, this is a snap keep, right? Like, it's got the
yeah.
pieces
This is the like,
of the Grand, like,
you know what? Yeah, this is like when you're nervous before a tournament, but then you open the first hand, it's just like an obvious snap keep, and you're like, this is nice. Like, I wouldn't be nervous if
yeah,
every decision was this easy. Yeah, so like, pretty easy snap keep. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So for
yeah,
me, yeah. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, so like probably Grand, and probably talent. I mean, I guess if it's like open deck list, I guess it's too like minor, but it's like, oh, if your opponent has like Spell Pierce or Spell Stare, technically when you're waiting for your opponent to like make their choices, you could be thinking like, oh, I'm gonna play talent. I mean, I don't know. That's not like a strategic thing, but I just mean that's like a time efficiency thing. Like if like I would be thinking like, oh, if my opponent passes with blue mana, like maybe if I was playing, I don't know what this is, a RC Super Qualifier, maybe I go on my opponent's Goldfish page if I was waiting.
yeah. I
And
started doing that recently. It's
yeah,
been pretty helpful.
yeah, that's one other thing I told the Moto people. I said they should make open deck list events because, like, number one, everyone's goldfishing each other, and number two, some of the paper events are open deck list anyway. And also, I mean, I guess it's a controversial issue, but some people, I personally prefer open deck list, but I know it's a political issue, but some people prefer open deck
Yeah,
list. So
I prefer it too for what it's worth. I mean, yeah, I mean, and yeah, it is. I mean, it is pretty messed up. Like everyone is goldfishing everyone right now, and so like,
yeah, they're making alts.
unless you're bringing something else that unless you're trying to like do some weird metagaming where you're just like trying to fool people with like, you know,
Yeah,
fake decks or something. It's
I mean,
like
I've heard people who do that before the thing. Okay, so I guess yeah, already a horrible mistake. No, just kidding. I was just gonna say you could
yeah.
have
So
attacked first, but
you're right. You see the mouse. I was
yeah,
hovering over the land. I
yeah,
moved too fast here, and I was like, God damn it.
yeah.
Yeah, so I fucked up there.
But it's not even obvious if you'd rather play Spire Bluff because there's like weird things that could happen. But I don't know. Anyway, okay. So yeah, I guess this is your
Yeah,
first
so
choice of the game. And oh no, well yeah. So what are you thinking of
so
discarding here? Like, was it easy to you? Or?
I wanted to get to like I basically wanted to get to a discounted grand. So this is green white.
Yeah,
They basically have no creature interaction in game one. So I wanted to discount Grand as soon as possible. The Iros felt useful in this situation, so I discarded Accumulate Wisdom, and I figured I could probably win with Double Monument really quickly. And I don't know, maybe that's not correct. Maybe I should have discarded something else, maybe the Monument. But it just felt like the Wisdom wasn't getting any better. And I already have the 3 mana for Monument. I have the Artist Talent, which I'm going to put down this turn. So I felt like Wisdom is, to me, at the moment, it felt like the clear choice here.
yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of close between like maybe Wisdom and Monument. 'Cause, like obviously you don't want to discard Talent and Iros and the land. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, this is kind of an interesting thing that comes up with the deck when you're like discarding with Grand. You're like, should I discard a lesson just to ramp to get my lessons online, or should I discard another spell that might be worse? Like that happens a lot. Um, but one thing to keep in mind is sometimes it happens where like discarding a lesson doesn't always like Well, it does ramp you, but it doesn't like it doesn't like kind of giga ramp you in a way because you're kind of far from the lesson still. So like this turn, you're probably going to play artist talent,
Hmm.
and then like next
Yep.
turn, if you like, you could potentially get the three lessons if you draw a lesson because you have a loot, you get attack with the grand potentially, maybe, maybe they go they play another chocobo, play a fetch land, their guys are 2/3s, and then maybe you can't. But a lot of time you'll be able to attack next turn, and then
Yeah.
you can discard what you attack, and then you can go like cast Iroh's demonstration, maybe discard a lesson, get the discard. I guess I don't know like a great way to put it, but also like I guess another way you can also look at it is like the accumulated wisdom in some ways. I guess you have to. I mean, I guess the main question is like, what am I giving up by discarding, a lesson to try and get my lesson stuff online? And yeah, it's kind of weird here because yeah, you're playing this turn is probably to play artist talent, but one thing to keep like the accumulated wisdom can almost ramp you to getting the three lessons online in a way because you could like accumulated wisdom into a lesson to get your third lesson, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
yeah. That's a
Um,
really good point. Yeah.
it's also kind of like a weird thing of like trying to plan the like how much do you need the second monument, which I guess is like a weird question. And it's also like just planning the turns because it's like let's say this turn I go play a talent, then turn three. Let's just say you play monument. I don't know. Let's say you play monument turn three. Then it's turn four. Then I don't know. I guess it is kind of probably good to play a second monument because then I was thinking, oh, maybe you want to go accumulated wisdom plus cast spells rather than play a second monument. At that point, I was thinking potentially like maybe you don't
Yeah.
need the second.
I Yeah, I was thinking basically like there's it's very likely the Grand is going to stick around this whole game. Um, and on turn four, I want to be playing the second monument and just popping off, and then I'm also insulated from like a scrap shooter, which I've noticed like some decks are main decking and stuff like that. I guess that's where my head was at, but like I think no matter what here, I'm definitely playing talent, right? Like I don't think there's I don't think I'm really winning by playing anything else here, right? Or do you think there's a like because you mentioned like I could have found another lesson with the wisdom. Like, do you think it makes sense that I should have considered wisdom this turn, and then
Uh,
maybe like an Iroh's into something else next turn?
not really. I mean, one thing about cantrips, I'll say, I guess this I don't know if I said it before with cantrip decks, but there's like there's kind of like the later you cast the cantrip, the better it kind of gets a lot of the time if you don't know exactly what you're looking
Yeah,
for.
yeah,
Because yeah, like right now, like yeah, I mean the say like like early in the game you want both lands and spells, but then later in the game you kind of know what you're missing. And here, like yeah, you don't really know what you're like looking for. So I don't see a reason not to play the talent. Maybe if it's post board and they have like four seam rips, but even then you might just want to play the seam rip, play the talent because it plays into the seam rip. And that's also one thing I was going to say
right.
about wisdom that's interesting is I was thinking, oh, like what if they scrap shoot or kill the artist talent and then you have two monuments and then maybe it's like hard to discard a card. But I mean, you have the grand, so it gets kind of weird. But I guess like the most macro thing I would be thinking is like, like what am I giving up? Like, I mean, it's kind of weird because it's just like, what's a more efficient way to goldfish? Like, if it was my monument or was my wisdom? And I was also thinking like something small, like, what if, like, let's say you draw like a firebending lesson next turn. Like, let's say your opponent goes like forest badger mole cub, and you draw a firebending lesson. And it's like, okay, in that
Yeah,
situation, you might
right.
not want to play. You might not want to play the monument. Maybe in that situation, you want to play the firebending lesson, discard something, and then you might want to not play the Irohs. You might want to follow up with a wisdom, and then there might even be now it's sounding like a conspiracy, but like let's say you draw the firebending lesson, and then like you loot and you discard a monument, and then you draw another lesson off that. Or so no, yeah, okay, so like you could get to
Yeah,
the three lessons for the wisdom next turn is what I'm saying basically. Because like let's say you draw like you attack was the grand, or okay, yeah, you draw a firebending lesson for turn, and then like you attack. You know what I mean? You could get the three lessons next turn, and then maybe you play accumulated wisdom, and then you just draw three next turn, and like you want to cast the firebending lesson rather than the monument because maybe you don't want to let them untap with the badger mole because you're like, what's the? I mean, I don't know. Again, this is kind of weird because there's like so many decisions, but I guess the big question, yeah, one of
no,
them's like,
yeah. There's
yeah,
like the thing you're making me realize is I think my line is all in on monument, and if I find myself in a position where I can't deploy Monument because they deployed like a bigger threat, like that has to be dealt with. Maybe it's a Badger Mole or something. Or like I can deploy Monument, but I can't attack my Grand into their threat. Then I'm kind of just taking a turn off, I guess. I'm developing Monument for one, but like your line it seems to be more versatile, I guess, because you're thinking a lot more about like what could go wrong. Um, and I guess yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm on the play. I'm just like all in Monument. Let's go, But yeah, I can see. I think there's a lot of merit to what you're describing. I haven't even thought through like if I drew like a firebending lesson, like I can get to three lessons pretty easily. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
guess
mean, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, the overarching point is more like, is there like the easiest way to do this is be like, is there a world where I don't play Monument next turn, right? You don't need to be like Giga Brain, like, what if I draw a Firebending Lesson? It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, like, is there a world? It's like, why would I want Wisdom? It's like, is there a world I'm not going to play my Monument next turn? And if I don't play Monument, what's it going to look like? And then, in those worlds, then maybe you might want Accumulated Wisdom because it might, uh, they're like yeah, so because of that basically. But yeah, there's a weird things where you're like, oh, like, do I? And I was just thinking like you might not need the two monuments because I was thinking if you have Artist Talent plus Monument, like it's probably not that necessary to have another one, especially if you have the Wisdom that you might cast or whatever. But obviously, I don't know, like if you think on a really big sample, right, of like a trillion games, it's like like how much does a second monument? But to me, it didn't seem like it would make that big
Yeah.
of a difference. Maybe for the RAL truthers, you only have three. No, but anyway, that's the basic logic. It's just like I could draw a firebending lesson. Maybe I want to cast the firebending lesson next turn. Then maybe I want to play wisdom. But yeah, we can keep going. Also, it was like a minor. Like, what if they kill my talent and then I can't attack as the Grando? Obviously, that's kind of convoluted how that would all come together, especially because it's game one.
Yeah.
So they could have get lost. Like they could go like Savannah, get lost, and then like get lost your artist talent. You untap with Grand. You play Monument, but then they might like make it so your Grand can attack because their Chocobo is going to be big and they can play a 3-drop on turn 3 or whatever. I mean, not that they have 3-drops
Yeah.
that are big,
Yeah.
but really, but yeah. I mean, they could play like
Yeah.
two Badger Moles or something.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of speculation on my end too. I was probably thinking like, oh, if I draw into another lesson, I could discard it. Or I don't know. Actually, no, that doesn't make sense. No, yeah,
Yeah. I
never
mean,
mind.
I've noticed that tension come up a lot where I'm like, well, I kind of want this. Like, I'm like, should I be discarding lessons to get the discount faster? And like, sometimes it's like, does it actually make sense? Or it's just like, what are you giving up when you do it? Because I've noticed that a lot where I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm usually stubborn. I don't want to discard my lessons. I'm like, I don't care about this discount. But but then I'm like, man, I wish I had this broken discount. Okay, so let's see. Is it
Yeah.
Badger Mole? Yeah, they're only 2-drop pretty much almost. So yeah,
Yep.
they get a nice
They attack with
juicy
the
attack.
cub.
Hmm.
So here, um, so I have an Iros, I have a Boomerang, um, both deployable. I'm not really, or at least I wasn't in the moment, a fan of like, you know, um, bouncing the Chocobo. It felt like Iros on the Cub, could be pretty important to do, but I also felt like what's the worst that they could do on their turn? Um, and it's basically play a 4-drop. Like maybe it's a harmonizer, or maybe it's a wagon or something like that, like a 3-drop or a 4-drop. And I felt like I could actually take this turn off, not interact, get my monument on board, and then like set up for a really good next turn. Like I have enough to discount, like get two lessons in the yard, probably interact with some things that they're doing, and start getting value out of the monument. And so I couldn't think of like any major punishes. I guess like the biggest punish is probably, but not that there's much I could do um, against it, but like if they're stuck on 2 land, and I don't get the Badger Mole off the table this turn, like I'm giving them the ability to basically deploy the enchantment, and like really set themselves up for like a future like large trampling turn or something like that. But it felt to me like you just kind of trying to go back to some of our earlier coaching sessions, like I should just press my board state here, or advance my board state, and like not overreact to what's been deployed, and because I couldn't think of a large enough punish, I figured that was the best path forward.
Yeah, I like playing the monument here because again, you can think like there's like weird things. You're always like, what if they're mana screwed, whatever. And sometimes you can think thoughts like it helps if you just try and think on a sample size of a million games, what's the best line, rather than just this one. Because then it's like, yeah, sometimes they're mana screwed. Well, there's some things you could say. It's like number one, if they're stuck on lands, maybe that's good for you anyway, in some ways, right? Because it's like, oh,
Yeah,
they're stuck on lands. But the problem is not playing monuments. It's like they have other threats, and you can't interact with those threats. So you kind of need to get your monument down because like yeah, what like I said, the lumbering broodwagon. Like imagine if you spend your turn going like I rose the cub, and then maybe you bounce, maybe you don't bounce. Let's say you don't bounce, but let's say you go I rose the cub, and then you uh attack for one, whatever. Uh, but then they go next turn land, play the 3 mana whatever, the lumbering broodwagon, and then you play monument, and then it's like, oh wow, like if they have the might form harmonizer, they can just do the combo right now. Uh, which is kind of tough. So that's like
yeah,
I feel like you want to play the monument because they have so many of their threats are hard to interact with, like Ice Tail Explorer, Esper, like the all those enchantments you're talking about. So I just want to get the monument because I feel like the way to combat those cards is just get on the board now. And yeah, like yeah, you let them untap with a cub, but it's like so what? They make one extra mana. Even if they have a second cub, it's not really gonna. The second cub's not even gonna generate much mana because they have to still tap. I mean, I mean, if they have a second
yeah,
cub, they could make like I guess you could say like what's the worst thing they could do? It's probably like they go like tap this forest, play a second cub, then they animate the that's thingy, then they have 4 mana, then they go like Ice Tail Explorer, then they go play a Fable Passage and crack it. But I still think like overall that's probably like it's not like killing their badger like it's yeah, like I think you. I mean, I don't want to go on it too much, but it's like even sometimes
yeah,
one
yeah.
thing you can think like if they do the worst case, that's going to be bad for me anyway because it's not like
Right.
those things are going to happen anyway, and yeah, it's just being mana efficient and yeah, like so yeah, I like monumenting seems pretty reasonable here. Monuments and you have like a micro choice
Yeah,
of what to
and then the
discard. I don't know if you just yeah
yeah. So I don't know. Like I could see a case for discarding monument here. I discarded the basics because I figured like, okay, next turn I'm gonna be able to very likely get the discount, and having the second monument just like puts me in a pretty good position to win. Although I could see like the basics being really important to reset this chocobo. So I don't know. Maybe I was just disrespect. I mean, the chocobo is fucking broken. Like I've seen this thing like really run away with the games. Maybe I was disrespecting it a bit too much here, and I could see situations where there's a major punish for that. In fact, I think I do get somewhat punished, but
yeah. I was
aside.
gonna say I
But
don't know.
yeah, I felt like discarding basics felt correct.
Yeah, like if it was me, I would almost want to discard nothing or discard monument. Well, because I feel like if you look at the situation here, next turn we're gonna untap with a monument, which means we're gonna basically draw our deck. And if we draw our deck, what's our bottleneck? Managing the board. So like I feel like Boomerang Basics is good. Like you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like we're gonna play monuments. They're gonna play a bunch of crap. Then we're gonna untap, and it's like we're gonna draw a bunch of cards. Wouldn't it be good to like Boomerang Basics? Their Chocobo, reset it, I rose some creature, whatever. So like I don't feel like I want to discard Boomerang because I feel like we have so many cards, and the only bottleneck we have now is managing the board. And like we still can get the discount next turn anyway because like if you cast any spell, you're gonna have 3 cards in the graveyard. I mean, any lesson that is.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, pretty much validating exactly what I thought after I discarded the basics, which was
Yeah,
yeah, Daniel's not gonna like this, and he's gonna have good reasons why. Uh, so yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Like
So yeah, I end up. Yeah, go on.
I was gonna say, well, I could see like discarding the second monument maybe because it's like, what are the pro like? Well, it's like, what's the downside? It's always easier to think about the downside. It's like, well, like, what if they have some random scrap shooter? That's why I love open deck lists because you don't have to think about this nonsense. Then you could
I
just
was
know.
definitely thinking about Scrap Shooter probably too much, and
Yeah,
recency bias. Like I got Scrap Shooter like I think 3 times in the past 24 hours in game one, and a lot of keen-eyed curators too. By the way, I don't know if you're running
yeah. I see they some of them
against
play
them.
one main. Well, because the list canister won the challenge, was had like one main randomly. But I mean, maybe they played
Thunder,
more.
man,
But
that card drives me crazy. It's just like, a really good main deck Ghost Vacuum. So it's just yeah. But putting that aside, like yeah, I was definitely over maybe my bias, from like prior games, recent prior games. I was just like overthinking the scrap shooter. Maybe tunnel visioning even on the scrap shooter a little too much.
Yeah, like it depends how, you know, like if they have it, it changes. But obviously, it could be like, what's the downside of not discarding the monument? It's like, well, what if they, play too many creatures, and I'm like really digging for a firebending lesson, and something like that of the sort like that. Like you might really want to find a
Yeah.
firebending lesson for next turn, so you can remove the badger mole for one mana, and then like anyway. But yeah, so you play that. Yeah. Now that I've been forewarned of the basics being discarded, so yeah, play that. I mean, that is something that comes up with like you don't always have to loot if like your hand's all good. I guess that could be like bad advice because like or rummage
No, you're right.
because you
Yeah,
should.
I need to get like I mean there have been moments where I've started to not loot, like I've been more mindful of it. Um, but I need to get better at it. Like, yeah, it
Yeah,
was here for a second. I think I was probably thinking about like, do I, attack?
yeah.
Definitely not.
Well, it kind of cuts both ways because you can also like loot not enough, like so you kind of want to try and loot the right amount, I guess, which is funny. But
That's why the deck is so difficult to pilot,
there
man.
you're just
The
gonna ask like
decision trees
with
are
the loot, it's just like, am I
crazy.
giving like if you're thinking about not looting, you just should ask like how free is it? Like what could go wrong if I loot this away? And like the times that you should always loot is
Yeah,
when it just
I like
doesn't
that.
matter and you're just like really But like if there's a way that it can go wrong, you can think about it. Okay, so yeah, here,
Yeah.
so and here you actually get grief. Yeah, you get. Well, I was gonna say you get grief by the discount, but never mind. um, well, I was gonna say like the discount's not
So
gonna come up for a long time anyway. But yeah, so yeah, okay, so it starts here. There's three cards. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
yeah, so they got three cards. They're I guess maybe representing or bluffing a royal treatment, or a snakeskin veil or whatever it's called. Um, and I mean, this felt like I rose the cub, see what happens first, assume it goes away. Um, they can't even crew here, right? The crew cost is 4, so I'm good on that. And then attack, or I mean, I think from that point I could deploy the second monument and then attack and start getting value out of double monument. So that felt like I think, or at least I think that's what I did. But in the moment, that feels like the only real line. And then there's some decisions around like, do I discard the talent, which I think I should in this case.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Um,
are you are you sure about that? Do you want to discard? Well, so, oh, well,
on the talent
yeah.
specifically, or the yeah,
Well, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of tricky here because like sometimes like you kind of want to. The thing I would say about the talent is like, let's say you kill their thing and attack with the Grand, right? Um,
yeah.
well,
I think I see where you're going with this.
yeah, they could kill you if
Like
they have
I don't have
Nightform
a blocker,
Harmonizer.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and also
No,
again, I'm just
actually, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. That came up this turn, I think. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like yeah, I'm thinking, oh, we could die if they have Nightform Harmonizer, but also I'm kind of like, this is something that comes up with these cantrip was like Phoenix. It's like I'm really in a mode where I'm really way up on cards on my opponent. Like I'm about to just blitz through my whole deck, so I'm kind of like keeping in mind the board presence. Like that's usually the thing that you're kind of oscillating between is these cantrip decks is like the board presence and getting my value. But here it's like, okay, we literally have talent plus monument in play, and like potentially the grand, and potentially double monument. So I'm just kind of like I don't want to die. I mean, obviously, as soon as you saw, you're like, oh shit, I could die to my form harmonizer. Then you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
I
I want to.
thought through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought through Might Form Harmonizer like too late into this turn, and I did end up doing something to insulate myself against it. But you thought through it basically at the beginning of the turn, and so yeah, that's why you're looking at the Storm Chasers talent, thinking like, I should probably not be discarding this, and so that makes a lot of sense. And in hindsight, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It'd
Well,
probably be incorrect to discard the Storm Chasers talent. I was trying to, I guess, get some kind of value off of the talent that's currently in play, so I can get double triggers. Like one off of the current talent, and then another two triggers off of both talents if they get deployed.
yeah, I mean, this might be kind of like that's the tricky thing here is you kind of want all the cards so that you can like like you want to rummage because you want to get the triggers from the monument, but also all the cards in
Yeah,
your hand have a value. I could potentially see discarding the River Fire Purge potentially. Like, I mean, you have to think through it a bit, but it's like, okay, you could go like Iros, shoot the Badger Mole, and then it's like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Maybe they have what do you call that thing? Um, Royal Treatment.
snake skin or
Yeah,
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 royal treatment.
whichever one, which they usually only play one of, maybe two, maybe zero. Like the average is probably one or less. But yeah, I could see a world where you could potentially discard the River Fire Purge if your logic is like, well, maybe you're like, I kind of want the second monument because I really want to, I have the discount and I want to like make things move quickly, and like the land won't really do much if you don't have the monument anyway. And you could be like, you're actually going to make a lot of mana because you have two monuments, so you can make up to four treasures a turn, which I guess is a
Yeah,
weird counterintuitive thing because like on the one hand, if you're going to draw your deck, you want as much mana as possible, but on the other hand, your like mana might not be a big bottleneck in a few seconds. Obviously, you want to hit your land, but I guess what I'm just saying is like, yeah, I could see a world where you go like Iros the Badger Mole Cub, because that way you get to have you get to have your cake and eat it too, or whatever they say. You get that way you get to get your loot from the rummage, and then you can like, let's say they have no interaction, you can
yeah,
literally go, yeah, kill the Badger Mole Cub, discard the Verge, make a treasure. Now you have the discount. Then you just cast the second
yeah, yeah.
monument. Then you attack. Yeah. So and then if they have a royal treatment, then it's not even necessarily that bad for you because then you could just go like either you could play the talent or you could play the second
Right.
monument.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Damn, that's fucking genius, dude. Wow. Yeah, it's really good.
yeah, like if the
And
attack goes through, you get the
yeah,
treasures anyway, so you don't even need the land. Because yeah, like if it resolves, you just go Iros, kill the Badger Mole, make a treasure, play a second monument, then you attack, make a treasure on the attack, and then you can just cast the talent post combat. And you don't even need the land, and you're probably going to draw one anyway because you're going to draw like five cards. Yeah.
yeah, so good, man. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm paying you the big bucks. And of course, I did nothing like that. So I tanked for a bunch,
It
played my
looks like you have the same
arrows.
start. Yeah. But again, it's always like I think Javier said, like it's all about just like structuring the thoughts in like an efficient way. I mean, I'm not a pro like if you're
Yeah.
like a programmer, it's like yeah, it's structuring the code efficiently. You know what I mean, or whatever. I don't know how that analogy works, but
No, that's exactly. I mean, I am a software engineer. I mean,
yeah,
that's actually that's exactly what we do. Is like we think through
yeah,
the structure of the code and the classes, and then yeah. I mean, not that I could have counted on it, but like, um, oh, I guess I drew a Spire Bluff off the loot, right? Where did
yeah.
the other? Where did this
Well,
other
because
one
you
come
drew
from?
off from the
Oh, okay, yeah,
monument.
yeah, I drew off the monument.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So in this case, you with your line, that would have been a treasure, which yeah,
yeah.
would have been pretty good here.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like,
Um,
it's like ideally the way you want to think is you want to be like, what is the most efficient way you can structure the way I can think through my turn. So, like, I'm trying to balance
yeah,
the monologue because also like this is how you like structure it to realize this, and it's like downstream of yeah, whatever. But anyway, so yeah, so here you're just choosing what to do is the monuments, and
yeah. So I don't know if this choice matters much. I made a treasure, but I'm
well, I could
about to get
almost
double.
yeah, I mean it might be crazy, but I could almost see a world where you don't attack with the Grand, so you don't die to Might Form, but maybe that game's just too hard to win anyway, so you should just attack. Probably, I guess. I don't know how many triggers
Yeah.
you have with
So
the monument.
at this point, I literally thought it was like I couldn't stop myself. I'm like, I'm dead if they have my form.
Okay.
But I'm like, I need to attack. I don't know. Like, I'm just like, I don't know why. I just couldn't control myself. Like, I just wanted the triggers, and maybe I was gambling a bit here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh well, maybe you could even
And
play a
what I
second Grand on defensive. Well,
That's
like
exactly
it's
what I end up doing.
yeah. Well, here the like the key question is just kind of like this is a classic like how ahead or behind am I? Because it's like am I ahead enough that I can afford to not attack? Because like what you know what I mean? It's like okay, what do I have? Like I have two monuments, I have
Yeah.
artist talent. It's like or like am I in a situation where I just have to attack? Because if I don't attack, I'm going to lose too many resources. So I don't know. I think it's close. I could, but anyway, yeah, we can keep going. But that's like the kind of
Yeah,
the question to ask.
I think you're right. I mean, honestly, I don't think there's any world they're getting trample next turn, right? They they have three cards in hand. They're probably sitting on a. I have to assume they're sitting on a might form. Like I think holding back the Grand here would have been the responsible thing to do. And then next turn, I think I can have a really good turn. I could probably, win the game next turn. I'm probably drawing whatever removal I need. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah, it's the
absolutely
lose
right.
life mode. Let me see. No, well, yeah, you could. Well, if it's you could put them to one
Not
life, I
literally win the
guess.
game, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you could put them to
I don't
one
know.
to one, I think. Uh, with
Oh
triple
yeah, yeah,
monuments.
9-9. Yeah, that's true.
But
Yeah,
well, like they are gonna have a big board because like let's say they cast Mightform Harmonizer and then they play a fetch land and then you chump block. They're gonna have Lumbering Broodwagon, a Mightform, a big Chocobo. So they're gonna have a pretty big board too. But yeah, you have all the combustion techniques and stuff. But anyway, yeah, we can keep going.
yeah.
Like
Assuming I draw, all
it's
the
it's
right
not like
cards.
100% you win. Like it's kind of like if they play Mightform, they can have a pretty good turn, right? Because they can do stuff, and it's like maybe you start the turn, you cast Monument, whatever. Anyway, so let's see. So you discard
Yeah,
that. Makes sense. And then I guess yeah, you just
and then
choose
I think
draw
I
a
made a
card.
treasure here, um, to set myself up for next turn, if I remember correctly. Like I wanted more mana, and because I knew that the Grand Grand has to die at this point. I don't know. Do you think that was correct? Like I could have drawn a card. Um, I don't know if like I'd end up with 4 mana and a treasure rather than 6 mana in total. But yeah, I decided like since I know the Grand Grand's gonna go away, I'm gonna lose my discount, and I'm gonna probably have to play this monument on 3, to to start the monument triggers. Like treasure seemed like the responsible thing to do here.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would say is that you kind of have to like do some math to count it all out. But I could see like draw card mode because it hedges for like you whiffing on a lot of draw steps in a row. This is like kind of a weird spot that happens. This is when you're going to draw your deck and you're like very favored. Like, okay, like yes, you are going to draw like 4 or 5 cards next turn, but some percent of the time you're going to have like 4 or 5. It could happen that you could have 4 or 5 bricks. And I'm like, I don't know if you'll be constrained on
Right.
mana because, like, okay, let's say you don't make a treasure here. So you cast the Grand Grand, you chump with it, you have 0 treasures,
Yeah.
because like you could start the turn and you draw for a turn, whatever, and let's say you go cast Monument for 3 mana, then you discard what you draw, and you can go like then you can like make
Treasure,
the treasures
treasure,
and draw a card.
and
I mean, I guess it gets
yeah, treasure and draw.
but I feel like I was just thinking like maybe there's a world where like you just you might like the extra draw can be nice because it gives you more choice with the rummage. Because next turn you're gonna rummage, but what if you like the card you draw, like it's a combustion technique? So then if you draw a card now, I guess I would say I would like usually lean to drawing a card unless you really feel like you can use the mana or need the
Mm,
mana because like you're gonna have a lot of mana because not only next turn you could potentially make 3 treasures with your monuments, but on their turn you can do it all over again. So you can make 6 mana of treasures, and it was that in mind, I might be more
yeah.
worried about like, oh, am I going to find my combustion technique and things like this. I
That
guess,
makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So I was laser focusing on like I'm only gonna have 1 mana to play with if I draw like a land or something.
yeah,
But you're getting an extra look, and then you could prioritize like the mana, from
yeah. Like I'm more
the
scared of
monuments.
hitting 4 bricks in a row because it could happen. Like let's say you next turn
Yeah.
you draw a card, you discard a card, and then you draw 3, and then you brick. I guess it sounds like yeah, but yeah, we can keep going. I guess I was also valuing the fact that like next turn, this is something that weird that happens with deck, but next turn we're gonna basically have to discard what we draw. So if we draw 2 cards, it's almost like bonus value because then we have a choice between our top 2 cards. Whereas if we
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we make a treasure now, then we don't have then we then we
Okay,
just
then
have to
this is a
discard it.
really good line. Yeah, I'm glad we walked through this line because I was not sure on this. Felt iffy, but yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense. So
yeah.
like I was laser focusing on the mana, and you're basically looking for like more
Yeah.
card availability, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I would say greed
Yeah.
is good. I've played a lot of Phoenix, and there's times you draw 9 cards and you're not hitting anything. So, I mean, I'm not saying you should become paranoid about that, but it's like don't keep hitting them until they're dead, kind of thing.
It
Like,
literally, I mean, it happens in the next round with green white. I think
yeah, like,
I must have drawn like 4 or 5 lands in a row or something like that.
yeah, like it's just like don't give them any breathing room. Like they can concede when they want to. Just keep like drawing
Yeah.
cards. I guess. I mean, there's times it's too many, but it's like, yeah, don't become like I have enough. Don't think you have enough. You don't have enough. Like, don't stop. Just keep going. Like you have to
No, but I'm
like
just
your
saying,
reason has to
like
really
some
be
of
like
that.
I really think I'm gonna miss the mana because like they're yeah anyway so they do their cheesy they're doing that, they're attacking, and yeah they actually have it, so it's pretty good you draw the grand there, otherwise you would have been humiliated
Yeah.
in front of this YouTube bot, in front of a live audience. So yeah,
Block the bigger guy.
yeah,
Go down to 4. I'm just checking if they have trample and stuff. I'm just like, what's going on here?
yeah. So they play Langle
They
Rebels.
play an elf,
Yep.
and
Save.
then here, yeah, I think it's pretty clear monument.
Yeah, probably. I can't even. I. It's getting too advanced, but yeah, it makes okay. That's a smart draw right there. Yeah, so then you can just do yeah. You can just do the draw mode because you're gonna do the more rummaging, so it gives you more option with the rummaging, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So yeah, you do draw mode. Let's see. Placing it. You're trying to see if they're gonna scoop yet. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no. Oh no. Horrible sequencing error. Yeah. Well,
I know.
you see why, right?
Yeah, I see exactly why here.
Yeah, because it's gonna make the
I
treasure anyway,
basically
so you
gave
might as well draw
myself
first.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, I don't force a discard. Not sure what's going on in my head there.
Yeah. So yeah, you discard this card. Then you see yeah, you see all these cards. And then you have to do like whatever draw card, make a treasure, whatever you can pick.
Yeah,
And yeah, then you see this, and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe you're like, well, you know they have a might form in exile, so that's actually kind of awkward because I guess they're doubling the power of their one power guys.
yeah. So I'm like, I guess I'll just play this rather than pass a turn, um, and then I'll just combustion on upkeep and
Yeah. Yeah, this was kind of an awkward
basically,
situation. Yeah, where like you wanted everything. Oh wait, are they just they're just dead? I don't know what I was even
yeah.
saying.
I was, well, yeah. I mean, I could have just passed and just like combustion upkeep, but like I guess I was just
No,
playing
it's
around.
free. Yeah.
I don't know, like yeah, exactly, instant speed, uh, artifact removal,
Yeah.
whatever.
Life. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess here I'm just being a dick. I don't know, like
Well, I didn't realize you had lethal
sideboarding
for a
this.
second. Yeah, I was like, I was thinking about stabilizing the board, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're at they added the light
Oh
lose
yeah,
your life
yeah.
load.
I was just trying to kill him on upkeep at this rate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got a
So
treasure addiction.
sideboarding, yeah. Okay, so I'll have to sequence better. My monument triggers. So sideboarding, I think I go with I remove the Storm Chasers talents and a Boomerang basics, and then I bring in. I don't think I keep that Slag Storm.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky to sideboard against them because it's like, well, number one, the talent boomerang basic stuff is always weird because it's like, should you ever trim it or not? Then there's like,
Yeah,
you have a lot of like, this is a case that happens with the cantrip decks where it's like you have almost too much interaction because some things that happens with like decks like this is like usually either your counter spells or your removal spells are good, but when both of them are good, it can get kind of hard to sideboard because then you have like more interaction than your deck can handle, kind of, and you kind of have to like pick and choose between like
interesting. Yeah,
how many shocks and counter spells because like yeah like I could see considering the spell pierce as you were saying because they have the lumbering broodwagon that it hits and it can hit the earthbender ascension and it can hit esper origins, but obviously they're a very creature heavy deck so it can be weird, but it's being like oh like it's kind of hard to interact with earthbender ascension and broodwagon was my normal burn spells, maybe I want to spell pierce, then like you could consider barrage,
yeah,
it's kind of sketchy but it can kind of kill their bigger guys, and then it's like yeah like how many shocks and stuff do you want, and the combustion techniques are interesting because they're like good but they have graveyard hate, and yeah the talent thing's kind of interesting too, but this looks yeah, and yeah the boomerang basics
yeah,
interesting because it's like what do they have that you want to bounce, like do you still want it if you don't have the talent, like are you happy to bounce their stuff enough, stuff like that.
yeah. So like I guess I the spell pierce. I wish I considered that. It is pretty versatile in this matchup. I hadn't thought about it until we looked at your list. And yeah, I went with Annul, which seems obvious, Torch, um, and a Braid, which I guess could hit a lot of their smaller creatures and maybe kill a wagon or whatever. Hadn't thought about Broadside Barrage. I guess that hits Harmonizer. And what's the other, that 2/4, the
Two
Ice Stones
four, and
4.
sometimes you can hit the Broodwagon if you have to, and you could hit a
Right,
flat
yeah.
Chocobo. I mean, it's kind of it's not great, but it's a card you would consider. Like definitely, people are gonna side it. Like some people are gonna side it in. It's a consideration, I guess is the word to use. Like it's not that clean,
Yeah,
but it can kill Esper
and
Origins maybe.
like, I guess, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth considering there. And I don't know, maybe I like taking out the talents. I mean, they just feel pretty worthless in this matchup beyond like 1/1 blockers. I'm almost never exerting pressure on them, like through combat. Um, so that felt right. I guess I could see like maybe I am way too removal heavy here, right? I could see maybe shaving more boomerang basics. Like it can reset like a chocobo, maybe that's way too narrow. But the real reason I kept most of the boomerang basics is just like to keep the lesson count somewhat high. Um, I remember doing a count and like if I shaved them all, it was just like I think it was maybe too low or something, or there was it didn't feel like there was anything better to play. But now that we're talking through it, like I could see going down to maybe one basics and bringing a spell pierce and a broadside barrage instead, or something like that. I don't know. I've also like the Quantum Riddler. I don't know. Like I feel like there could be a place for it in this matchup, like the flying. Like a way to I mean, it can block some of their smaller creatures, and it can get through, but it just feels too slow. Like, I've never actually tried it though.
Yeah, the Riddler seems like if you're afraid they're gonna disenchant all your stuff and you're gonna run out, they're gonna go like Soul Guide Lantern and
Yeah.
disenchants, and it's like maybe I want this because it's not like that's I wouldn't see it as like that good of a blocker. Maybe you know what I mean? It's like
Hmm.
I would see it as like it would be good if they're trying to disenchant you a bunch. You could maybe consider it or the Ral, maybe because the Ral is like cheaper, and
Yeah.
so the otters to block. Yeah, I mean, one question I would ask was basics. It's just like, it's gonna be in your if it's gonna be in your deck, it's gonna be in your hand. So it's like, are you gonna be happy to cast it? And it's kind of weird because on one hand, the green is kind of like you think of green as slow big guys, so bounce can be good against that. But then also you have to look at their deck and be like, is it that good against what they're playing? Because they have, what do they play that I can bounce that I'll be happy with? But also, yeah, you're like, well, maybe I need the lesson count enough because it's good with my grand and my combustion technique and whatever. It's kind of weird. One thing I will say I don't know if they do this, but when Canister was streaming, he was siding out all his elves and I think Badger Mole Cubs even, and just siding in like 4 Seam Rip and like a million Disenchants and like Soul Guide Lantern maybe did.
Interesting.
So one funny anecdote is I was playing the Landfall deck and I was playing against somebody, one of my friends, I guess, on the Is It deck or whatever. And I was doing that plan, right? I was signing out all my elves and whatever. And then somebody else was watching him and was like, "Oh, you should side out your firebending lesson because he's siding out his elves." And I was like, and then like after he was like, "Oh, you should obviously side." He was like, "You should obviously side out your firebending lesson." I was like, "Well, if you're playing a tournament," I was like, "No, most people don't know that I'm siding out 8 elves or whatever, so it's not really. You can't just like know the sideboard plan based on what I'm doing." I'm like I just said, like, imagine if you're playing in a random tournament, how are you going to sideboard? Like that's how you should sideboard, right? But like
Right.
that
Yeah.
is worth keeping in mind that like if you played against Canister, I mean, that's kind of deep. Like, I would probably leave in my firebending lessons because if they have Elf or Badger Mole, it's pretty important to kill them. Or Chocobo, even. Chocobo too. And that's another
Yeah.
reason why, like, the lesson's not even that bad because the Chocobo is pretty good to kill. But that's just kind of a funny anecdote about sideboarding. That was a sideboard plan I was doing. I was siding out, yeah, it's kind of a nice -8 mana dorks, all the ones that die to lesson. I just like +4 Seamrit, +4 Disenchant, and like +2 Soul Guide Lanterns.
Pretty
And,
sick.
but it wasn't like I was like, oh yeah, their fire lesson bending lessons will be dead. But then what happened is there was just like double fire bending lesson by my forum harmonizers. I'm like, okay, or it's just looting it away. I mean, it was I liked the plan, but it wasn't like there was like, oh yeah, we got them. Their fire bending lessons are dead. Like it was like it was just kind of a funny
Yeah.
plan and like yeah, one of the nuances of sideboarding, I guess, so to speak. Um, and yeah, the talent thing's very weird because it's like talent plus boomerang basics is so good, but like, what if the 1/1 auto is not good in the matchup? So it seems reasonable to cut it. Like, I haven't played this matchup that much, but yeah. And also, you can
Yeah.
like always
I
build your sideboard in mind. Or sorry, like, I was gonna say like if you like go to an event, you could be like, okay, like I don't want like you're like I don't want my Storm Chasers town against mono green. Well, maybe that means you should build your sideboard in a way that you can accommodate so that you can sideboard all the good cards you want in. But obviously that rests on the assumption that you
Honestly,
don't want the talent. Sorry, what?
that that makes a lot of sense because if this sideboarding plan feels like I'm getting rid of bad cards and I don't have any good cards to replace it with, like they're all like I don't know, it just feels mediocre. And like if I look at the deck as it's built right now, right? Like we got a flash freeze and a braid and like a couple of nulls. It just feels like okay, they have a lot of graveyard hate. They have a lot of disenchants, effects. Like they have seam rips that are probably going to hit my artist talents, and like I'm not really doing anything to get better against them. I'm just adding all this defensive stuff, and then I still have some pretty awkward cards like Boomerang Basics. So it just doesn't like I guess as I'm thinking through it, I don't feel like this deck is really teched for this matchup in its current configuration, and I should probably start rethinking the sideboard a bit more. Maybe like I guess that's what you were trying to do with your list. Like I guess this list is like pre green white, landfall or just landfall in general becoming a thing. If I'm really thinking about it, it's like maybe still a little too teched for like a meta where landfall like almost didn't exist at all.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if you ever heard of what they call the elephant sideboarding method.
No, never heard of that.
That's when they say like you build your deck and you just pick how you'd want to sideboard in every matchup, and then you try and build your deck like that. So I would say that's a pretty
Interesting.
good way to go around it. Like you just be like, okay, this is how I want to sideboard against. Yeah, and then you can be like, what matchups am I missing cards? And then you just build your sideboard so you always have cards to bring in every matchup, um, and you don't have to
Yeah,
leave any bad
that's really
cards.
cool.
But yeah, so yeah, we can keep going
It's
here.
called the elephant.
Yeah, I don't know why it's called that, but I mean that's an approach I try and take. It's like you don't want to have bad cards in any matchup, so it's like always keep in mind like if you have to have a bad card, it's like try and change the list a bit or keep that in mind,
Yeah.
because it having a bad card ends really feels bad. Okay, so yeah, this is a nice hand, I guess. Easy decision, I guess. To keep.
Yup. Yeah. So keep this.
Yeah, imagine if the Flash Freeze was the owl and you could meme on them. I guess Flash Freeze is good though. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, you see this. I guess yeah. Was it obvious to you? Your turn one. Did you just shock it, or were you like passing, or what?
I feel like I'm not supposed to shock here. I don't remember what I did though.
Oh my, really?
Like, 'cause
Why not?
so like if I shock this, well, I guess maybe that's okay. Like if I was thinking of Badger Mole Cub, I guess the punish here is that I could end up getting got by the artifact or vehicle or whatever. Um, but like, what do I have going for me after that? Really, right? Like, um, I felt like if I shock now, um, well, I don't know. Actually, as I'm thinking through this, it is pretty clear that you should shock this, right? Like
Yeah,
the worst thing that they could do is play a Badger Mole Cub, but then I could flash freeze like their big spell after that.
yeah. The two things is like number one, if they play Badger Mole Cub, what does Cub even do? It makes one mana, so it does literally the same thing as Llanowar Elves, right? Because like Llanowar Elves makes one
Yeah,
mana. What
yeah,
does the Cub do? It basically makes them one mana, right? So it's like if they have an unresolved Cub, it's not an emergency, right? Because it's like it's doing the same thing Llanowar Elves is doing. It's making one extra mana.
right.
And then number two,
Yeah,
what's the worst thing that happens if you don't shock this? Well, what if they play a like they don't just have one 3-drop, they have two 3-drops. Lumbering Broodwagon or Earthbender Ascension, they play it, and now what? Now it's just like it's just horrible. Like what are you gonna do? Like you're gonna shock the elf? Like you're gonna you know what I mean? I feel like letting those 3-drops resolve is like really bad for us. And yeah, like I don't even care about the Cub that much, so I would slam it. Sounds like
yeah,
you're agreeing, yeah. Looks
yeah.
like you might do it.
So
No, you
I
don't.
end up not doing that. Yeah, I thought about it,
It
but
would have been sickening if they like had the Cub and then they like played it and put it on the fetch lands. And then okay, yeah,
they end up
they
playing
the
Esper
fetch.
Origin. So I
Sure.
got yeah.
Well, you gave them the
I
one
guess
man,
I
I
got a
guess.
little bit bailed out here, right?
Yeah, they didn't have the worst outcome, so they mill a scrap shooter. Yeah, and you're like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
So
scrap
I
shooter,
mean,
I
this
guess.
tells me that and so they mill a scrap shooter in an escape tunnel. What does that tell us? like the scrap shooter is kind of a key card, right? Like, I mean, I'm thinking that they're short on untapped lands if they're doing that. I mean, does that feel like a fair assessment?
Yeah, it's hard to like. It's kind of interesting because like they fetch there, so you're like, well, the fact that they cracked the Fable passage, I mean, you can infer pretty easily they probably don't have a forced land, or maybe they have multiple passages.
Right.
So you can't really even infer they don't have a forced land because they could have a forced land, but they just have two passages. Um, so like
Yeah.
yeah, on the one hand, it's like oh they played a passage this turn, maybe that means they're light on lands. But yeah, imagine if they have a second passage, they might have their four lands anyway. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you'd imagine, oh, it's turn three. Like, well, that might tell me they're more likely to have a scrap shooter or another disenchant or a three drop because it's like, well, turn three they're probably going to want to play a three drop. I mean, I guess it is kind of weird to like try and deduce what they have because it's like, okay, they probably want to play a three drop on turn three, so it's like they're kind of saying that they already have a three drop, um, and they might already be saying,
Right. Yeah.
and I mean, the evolving wilds makes sense. I mean, the escape tunnel because that card's like pretty bad to draw at this point, you know, but like yeah, you're like maybe they're missing lands, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't think about it that much realistically to be like I would just be
Yeah.
like it seems hard to draw information because you think about it, it's like okay maybe they have three drops, but you know what I mean. I mean I guess it is worth thinking about technically, but it seems kind of hard to in a way also, you know what I mean. Like when you break it down, it's kind of hard to be like
Yeah.
okay so they have Soul Guide, nice.
And then this is where I start to realize that they are off on lands. I think.
Yeah, because milling the escape tunnel, that's what I was gonna say. That seems pretty aggressive from them to mill the escape tunnel
Right. Yeah.
if they didn't have a land. I mean, maybe they're like the risk was calculated, but I'm bad at math, kind of a meme. Um, uh, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, one thing I was gonna add.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like if you feel light on lessons a lot, then you could like consider trying the fourth abandoned attachments in the 75. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
Right, yeah, dude. I've been thinking about that for a while now. Like, I do think it's correct because it's
Yeah.
versatile enough to just be in the deck. Yeah. Here, I think I probably made like a really bad play. I'm not sure, but I mean, I'm going for the Grand Grand. I think that's correct. But what I did with the Grand Grand is what I think is probably bad. I basically played Grand Grand and left Flash Freeze up. The reason I did that isn't because I wanted to leave mana up necessarily. I mean, they missed a land drop. They probably have a hand of three drops, right? And I don't know. It's possible they had two drops, but they really wanted to hit their land drop, which is why they played Soul Guide Lantern. But I left the lands up because I wanted to just set up for like Monument into like Grand Rummage next turn, and so like it didn't really feel like there was anything more impactful I could be doing other than playing the Monument, but just doing that out of sequence, where Monument first, Grand after, puts me like three turns out from, or two turns out from this turn, from actually being able to get any value out of it.
So yeah, what did I mean? Did you? I mean, so you said you went play Grand Passes Flash Freeze up. I mean, did you feel like that you had a problem with that, or
It was more the like the mana efficiency point. Like, um, I mean, they're missing land drops. Like, I'm putting myself in a position where the best thing I could do is cycle another accumulate wisdom. You know what I mean? Maybe that wasn't correct. I don't know if playing Monument was better though. Um, because what am I really doing with a Monument? I guess I can Agna Kella, like, a turn after that. That's kind of awkward though. It means I'm doing nothing. I don't know. Maybe I'm undervaluing the Agna Kella here.
well, I guess the thing to
Like,
say, yeah, I guess the thing to say is like the most powerful goldfish thing. I guess it's weird because I'm getting different contradicting rules, but it's like if you think from like what's the most powerful thing I can do, like what you know if I'm goldfishing, or like the defensive aggro
yeah,
thing is like the most powerful thing you could do is like play Grand, maybe flash tree something, and then untap, play the monument, attack and trigger it. And then you could say, what's the problem of
yeah,
passing? You're like, well, what if they don't play into my flash freeze? But it's like, well, if they don't play into the flash freeze, then it's like maybe that's good for you. Like the only thing they could do is like get lost on your turn, like get lost your Grand. But then
right.
they're like, I guess the thing is like the problem is if you play the monument now, then they could just like resolve their stuff. You know what I mean? Like they're missing lands. You don't want to let them like resolve a 3 mana card that gets lands or whatever, or like
Yeah.
maybe they play a badger. Like, yeah, obviously there is a chance that this isn't mana efficient in the way that like maybe they don't play into your flash freeze. But the problem is that like if you do play the monument, you let them get on board, and then you're like let's say they just resolve a badger mole cub this turn, and then it's like by the time you play Grand Grand, maybe the Grand Grand can't attack anymore. I guess the way to look at it is like Grand Grand has a limited amount of time she can attack in, right? And it's like you kind of want to press her now because it's like now the board is clear. Whereas if you hold her, maybe the board
That
won't be
thought
clear.
did yeah, that's almost exactly the same thought I had where it's like monument into Grand Grand puts me like I mean, it's turn 5 by the time Grand Grand's attacking. Like, it's very likely Grand Grand's not attacking. And you know, I do remember you qualified, you know, a lot of the points you made around like, you know, using all your mana. That it's not always correct. Like there are, you know, corner cases where, or just cases in general where it is correct to leave mana up. So I figured it sounds like we're on the same page here. Like I figured that this was like a pretty good place to pretty much hold up mana.
And also, it is
But
kind of mana
you know,
efficient because, like, I mean, like realistically, most of the time you're gonna play something, you're gonna counter it, you're gonna untap, you're gonna play monument, and then you actually are doing the most mana efficient thing because like not playing the Grand Grand is not mana efficient in the sense that like now your monument's just doing nothing for a turn. Like if you think how the turns,
yeah.
yeah, if you see how the turns will play out, because like let's say you play monument and then this is why it's actually the mana efficient thing because if you play monument this turn, then next turn what are you going to do? Play Grand Grand and like pass with flash freeze, and then it's like you have dead mana. So this is actually the most. This actually might be the most mana efficient if
Yeah,
you
that
think multiple
love
turns
that.
ahead. But anyway,
Yeah, love
yeah,
that.
just anyway.
That's
So
something
yeah,
I
we'll
still
see.
need to get better at is thinking multiple turns ahead.
Yeah, so they play Soul
They play
Guide.
Soul Guide Lantern. I don't know if this is loose. I annulled it. I mean, it's possible that they drew a land and they're about to, you know, play some kind of 2 drop, and I should have flash freeze something better. But you know, this is their second Soul Guide. I'm assuming it's probably close to their last. If not, it probably is their last. I'm not sure. Maybe I should have been looking at the lists. And you know, I felt like It's very likely I can crack and accumulate wisdom for full value. So I wanted to protect that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I keep in mind, like, I would, yeah, again, it's just asking like what can go wrong, and right. I mean, it's kind of a weird spot. I feel like I think they used their mana last turn because like if they didn't use their mana, then you'd be like, oh, obviously they used Soul Guide. But I think they did things last turn. I can't tell exactly based on
They
the
played Soul Guide and then cracked the Soul Guide to draw a card.
yeah.
So
So you have no
what's going through
information.
my mind is yeah. So like it's possible they're holding a land, right? And they're just trying to you know, it is weird to me that they would lead with a Soul Guide if they had a third land, though, right? So I'm thinking like keep the Soul Guide is probably 60% to you know like it's another cycle card to try to hit their third land drop, and so annulling it seems correct. And the biggest punish here is that they drop like a 2 drop, like a Keen-Eyed Curator, which they don't have mana to necessarily use on that turn, or a Badger Mole Cub. And like those didn't feel like the worst things in the world to happen. I guess my Grand Grand gets locked out of attacking, but it felt worth it to counter their Soul Guide if in the event that they're just trying to cycle it for you know to hit their third land drop.
I mean, one question I would ask is like, how big of a disaster is it? You know, I mean, the thing is like, what's the worst case situation if you counter this annul, and if you counter the Soul Guide? It's like the worst case is they play like a card they could block, like they could play like a Chocobo and a fetch land, or they could play Keen-Eyed Curator,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, a Bristly Bill. I mean, or no, you said Badger Mole. I mean, yeah, it's kind of an interesting point because like if they had Badger Mole and a land, they would probably just play the Badger Mole because you can ramp them. But like maybe they're trying to play around a quench, so they're like baiting out with the Soul Guide. But anyway, yeah, I mean, in my
Yeah,
mind, it's
yeah.
pretty bad if they block the Grand Grand because it's like we need our Grand Grand to make our monument work. So I'm kind of thinking like if we stick our monument, then we're gonna just be so far ahead. Like I'm just thinking like once we have Grand Grand plus monument, like we'll be so far ahead. So I just need to make sure the Grand Grand can stick. And I'm like the Soul Guide, what like it's mostly like cycling for them. So obviously they're missing lands, so it's like good to stop them from hitting the lands or and things of such sort. But I guess I'd almost be thinking like you could be thinking maybe I want to be just try and guarantee like having monument um up. Obviously, there's because like if they crack the Soul Guide, they can't leave up a disenchant. They can only pass with 1 mana, right? so you get a guaranteed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So like I don't know. That's kind of what I'd be thinking. I would be thinking like I want to try and guarantee the grand attack. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to do this, but like you could imagine the game getting awkward. Like so you annul this, but then they play a 2 drop, and then it's your turn, and it's like now like if you play the monument, you don't have flash freeze up. You know what I mean? Or like you could attack and then you make a treasure. You see what I'm saying? So I could
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
like
So you're basically,
yeah.
yeah. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say like I think that you can run away with the game pretty quickly when you have like grand plus monument. So I might try and like defend it. Um, like try and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. So you're basically saying like the Soul Guide landing is nowhere near as bad as like something else landing, and you're trying to insulate our ability to attack with Grand with a monument. That makes sense. So here I probably got way too laser focused on. This is actually something I remember reading an article about like like newer Magic players, they're like less experienced. They get way too focused on like trying to prevent opponents from like hitting their land drops or stuff like that. And like damn, I can't remember the article. It was about like why that's not the right axis to be focused on because eventually your opponents will find their land drops, hit them, and all you've done is just kind of delay something. But it's I think this is a case where I'm reading way too much into what they were doing on their prior turns. I'm like, oh, I'll lock them out of mana, not thinking enough through the worst case. Grand Gen not being able to attack, I think is pretty bad.
or
And
jump and
could
talk
have
or
gotten
whatever you
punished for
call
it.
it. Yeah, yeah. I mean the
Yeah,
overall
yeah,
logic is just like I have monument. I want to enable my monument, so I'm going to try and protect my monument. I mean, obviously there's a lot of nuances. Like
right.
maybe they play a land and then they pass, and then you know, then you're like, oh, now they resolve their soul guide, and like if I play monument, they could disenchant it, and then but that's like yeah. Again, it's helpful if you just think on average. Like it's not about it's not like you're not trying to think about this one corner case. You're trying to think on average, kind of in a way. Obviously, and you're taking the
I love
context of
that.
what they've
Yeah.
done. But yeah, because yeah, that's a lot of times people will like say I did this because what about this corner case? It's like well, on average, it's the average situation, not the, not a corner case. But anyway,
Yeah.
so so yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, but that's kind of like what to be think like yeah, what the logic of it. It's like I want to really enable my monument, and I would feel kind of bad if I can't. But anyway, so this happens. They don't have a
Yeah.
chocobo.
And then they do play a Fable.
Yeah, imagine if they had a chocobo and it was a 2/3.
Fable, no Chocobo. Yeah, this would be all bad.
But yeah, so you can play
um,
monument, I guess, and then attack, and then get a mode, I guess. Yeah,
yeah, I think that's what I led with here.
yeah, and it's like maybe you'll even consider making a treasure so you can have flash freeze up. I don't know, kind of close, I guess, because like if
Yeah,
it,
I.
yeah,
So it depends on if I drew an untapped land. So I
yeah,
discard the Agnicella here, play them
yeah,
out, and make a treasure, hold up flash freeze, and then I feel pretty good. Like I think I'm pretty in a pretty decent spot from this point.
yeah. They need like a Cavern of Souls, which they don't really play.
Yeah, which
So
I've seen actually.
like as a
I've
one
seen
of,
that in the
yeah,
green white list.
yeah. Maybe they'll add
Yeah,
more. Oh, this is interesting. You're looking at this firebending lesson. You've had enough of it. Okay,
yeah. I was.
yeah.
I don't know. I think I was thinking like,
Agnicala,
hey, if
the
the
monument.
Grand gets locked out of attacking in the future, like the
Yeah,
Agnicella is kind of like my only discard outlet. But
yeah. I mean, maybe I
decided
could
not
see a
to.
world where the Agnicala is better than the firebending, but I guess that's too much to get into now. So we'll,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll just play a land and pass. I mean, it's not crazy, I guess, because you're like, yeah, what if they like seam rip my grand, and then I can't trigger my monument? So yeah, so I guess you flash freeze
yeah.
this seems
And then
reasonable.
and then I think opponent just scoops here.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
yeah. So that was that match. So let me see. I got another green white one that might be worth watching. Let me pull it up. There's also, I mean, I think it was probably fine for opponent to scoop in this position, but I've noticed there has been a lot of rage scooping, even in like on the Moto tournaments, where like I don't necessarily feel like the game is locked yet, and people just quit. When you have like your thing going. So I don't know, maybe a sign that people
Maybe
are
because
getting
of
fed up
people
with it.
giving. I don't know.
Maybe that's it.
I,
Um,
I don't know.
uh,
People don't scoop that fast in the arena directs. Uh,
the arena directs are a lot more resilient.
yeah, people need to get their money's worth. They're actually
Um,
like sometimes I'll like, I can't lie. I put a your go once or twice when my opponent's letting the rope run and they're dead on board or whatever. But Anyway, that's like the complete
I've been
opposite.
there.
So, so yeah, yeah, okay. So this is the next game.
Is this?
Yeah, that's interesting with the
I'm just trying to
scooping.
make sure this is the.
Yeah,
Yeah, I might have run into it like 3 times in the last day.
I mean,
Where the
I can
scooping
believe it. The
feels a little
lessons.
premature.
I mean, when they got the artist talent and everything down, it's like, yeah, there's no. I mean, but yeah, sometimes too early. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, so
Okay, I think I'm just making sure I'm not loading the same.
well, this is a
I think
different
this is the yeah.
username. Yeah, super
Okay, yeah,
qualifier.
yeah.
Okay. Okay,
So
this is a
yeah, in the blind, yeah, kind of a weird hand, but I kept it. Um, I don't feel super thrilled about it. Like it's gonna remove whatever creatures they play and in the first couple turns, and hopefully I draw some gas from there. But I don't know. What do you think?
well, do you feel good about keeping it? Do you think your win rate's going to be good this
I
game?
feel no. I feel like I'm playing off the top of my deck. Like, and so actually, this is a question I wanted to ask you. Like, am I supposed to keep hands that are functional, but you're playing off the top of your deck? Like I guess if this was a six, I think I would have to keep it, right? And maybe just bottom a land or something. But is it the hand I would go to five with? Like, I don't think the answer is yes, which is what got me to keeping it ultimately. Love to hear your thoughts.
Well, there's a few things. I mean, I would say there's a difference between are you happy to keep this on six and would you keep it on six? Like, if you're like, yeah, I would keep it on six, but it would be below average, then that means your average six card hand is better. And I feel like this is a hand that so it's like, yeah, do you like if I thought it's on six, I don't think this is where open deck list helps because like let's say you're playing against like a deck where your removal is really important. That's one of the problems is the removal isn't always good in every matchup. So like if I was playing a matchup where the removal was really good, even then this hand still has some problems. But like yeah, like if you're playing, yeah, I guess what yeah, if you're playing into matchup where the removal's good, then you'll feel better. But the problem is like a good amount of decks in standard, the removal won't be like that amazing. You know what I mean? Because you could be playing in Spider
Yeah.
Man, like whatever. There's like obviously decks where the removal's not amazing. Um, but also yeah, it is kind of like a little bit of mana efficiency of like okay, if I keep this hand, I turn one I have something, but then I might start flooding out. I mean, turn four maybe like people might start getting baited because they'll be like, oh, I can level my talents, but that's not like really like a play that you should be like looking forward to doing in your opening hands. I mean, if it's
Yeah.
contextually good,
Yeah.
I mean, it can be fine, but also the problem is you're only removing a removal, you're returning a removal spell. I mean, I think this is a deck that could like mulligan somewhat aggressively. Like if you think of this deck more as like of a combo dredge type deck than a fair deck, because like if your 5 card hand is like
Yeah.
Artist Talent, Monument, 3 lands, like you might rather have that than this hand, you know what I mean, or something of the sort.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a really good point.
so
Yeah.
like I feel like this hand has pretty good five. Or even like imagine just like Boomerang basics and like Storm Chaser's Talent and like something else good, right? So I feel like there's
Yeah.
there's a lot of even fives I would rather have than this hand. Uh, like I guess it's also
Okay.
part of like
Good
understanding the
point.
context of like what the cards are doing, and like a lot of the cards in this hand are kind of out of context because like what I mean is like the reason you have firebending lessons like not really that good of a card, but you play the card because it's good with your like accumulated wisdom, like because you want a cheap interaction. It's a lesson, right? But you don't have any of the other payoffs that go with it. Like you're pretty far from like having an accumulated wisdom or any of those aspects. It's not like firebending lessons that good of a card, right? And it's the same with combustion technique. Like these are kind of support cards for your engines, but you don't have your engines. You only have these like support cards. And like Art Storm Chaser's Talent's like one of the like most awkward cards in your deck. Like it doesn't really do much unless you have Boomerang basics. I mean, obviously it's good, but you know what I mean. Like you kind of have like a mismatch of cards that don't work that well together. Obviously, you can say like, oh yeah, like if you draw well off the top of your deck, but like even if you like, I guess if you draw Boomerang basics, it would be pretty good. But it's not even like you're gonna win like for free if you do that. But I guess I would be like, I feel like the average six is better because,
Right.
like, again, I'm really like the deck's really based around certain engines. The engines are like Artist Talent, Monument, Accumulated Wisdom, Grand, or Boomerang Basics plus Talent. And like, you don't have like any of these cards, and you don't have like the abandoned attachments to dig for it. So that's why I might be like, yeah, I think I could do better, and yeah, because I kind of don't, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Love all those points. And yeah, for what it's worth, there have been plenty of fives with this deck that win like they're sevens. And
Yeah.
so yeah, that really resonates
Yeah, I mean it's just
with me. So
disgusting if you go abandon
yeah, should have
attachments.
shipped.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's. I was gonna.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's disgusting if you go turn two abandon attachments, discard a lesson, and turn three like firebending lesson plus accumulated wisdom, and like on a 5 card hand. It's like, oh wow, like now I'm just gonna lose anyway.
yeah,
Anyway, so this
yeah.
happens. Yeah, they have a
So
chocobo, and yeah, I guess.
so I think the play here is combustion technique, right? Because that lets me double spell next turn, and the firebending lesson could probably hit um, every card except Keen Eye Curator, which they only play one of or two of sometimes.
Well, actually, yeah.
So yeah,
Did you consider casting? Like, why do you think you need to cast combustion technique? Like, did you consider casting abandon attachment this turn? Were you scared of like royal treatment or
um,
something?
the no, I mean, I guess I didn't even think about. I didn't think about royal treatment. I guess I didn't want to discard a land, or I didn't want to play abandoned attachments until I knew what I was going to draw next turn. It was more of like a heuristic or just like muscle memory. I guess thinking through it now, though, like there's really nothing wrong with playing it here, right? Um,
Yeah, I think
and
it can be.
I still get an attack in,
Yeah, I think.
like
I don't think if you miss a land, it's
if
probably
I'm
good for
casting.
you. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Wait, say that again.
I was gonna say if you miss a land, it's almost good for you because that means you're gonna draw 3 spells in a row, and you have three. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
a random
No,
thing,
you're
but you know
right.
what I mean? Like, if you think about it, like, imagine if you miss lands, like, that's almost kind of a good. Well, because number one, you actually have 4 draws before your next land. Well, so you have 4 draws before your thing because you're gonna draw 3 cards next turn, but you have your land drop for next turn. So that means you're gonna have, if you miss a land, you would draw 3 spells in a row, which is probably good for you because most of your spells are like really cheap and good. And also the fourth turn, like imagine if you have four, like so I would be like I'm not that scared of missing a land because I'm like I don't think it's almost possible for me to like miss a land and it go badly. I mean, it could like maybe I just draw 3 monuments or something weird, but you know what I mean. Like I actually I'm kind of scared of
Mhm.
flooding more than anything, and I like the I don't think there's a rush to combustion technique because like number one, like the combustion technique can hit bigger creatures, so like you could potentially firebending lesson the chocobo next turn, and then like maybe you'll combustion technique like an ice killer or might form harmonizer. But actually, the bigger reason is like I just don't feel like we need to remove the chocobo now, so I'd rather develop. Like, what if we draw an artist talent in the top? Like, let's say our top 3 cards are like monument plus another abandon. Then like next turn I might want to play my monument. You know what I mean? Or like, what if I find
Yeah,
a
yeah.
quench? Yeah, like what if I yeah like imagine if you draw quench next turn and next turn you want to play quench. Like I just don't think there's a reason to like really remove this chocobo, and like also next turn we could firebending lesson. Like our firebending lesson might not find a target. Like what if they just cast Esper Origin? Like imagine if we go land Esper Origins, and now if we went abandoned attachments, now we can firebending lesson the chocobo and have 2 mana to do something else. Maybe cast an
Yeah,
wisdom or something.
very good points. And I wish I did that. And instead, what I did is main phase the combustion technique and attack.
Yeah. So you do that, you attack. Let's see. Yeah. Because yeah, here again, so like the worst case, like what if they don't play a cub? Okay, they do play a cub, so that's nice. Now you're fine. Gonna okay, and then you could draw that. It is interesting because you could like main phase the abandoned attachments. Then you can, in case. Did you want to like represent a quest
Yeah.
or something? Did you? Yeah. Did you consider main or yeah?
I just wanted to get damage in, and so like I don't know if I should be prioritizing damage. Like I have nothing else going for me, I guess, until I pop off this accumulate wisdom.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't think about like passing with the attachments up.
No, I think it's
Like
probably good to
I
main
just
phase. I was just thinking you were hovering over the land, so I was gonna. I guess let's just look at the turn keep playing out.
yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, I was just thinking through which land, like my slow brain, were
Yeah.
just thinking through which land do I play, and because I'm probably pitching one of these
Okay.
lands.
Yeah. There. Now you stepped into my trap, so now I can say what I was gonna. I was gonna say you should have abandoned. Like, did you? Well, do you see the problem
Oh,
here?
right. Why do I keep doing that, man? I don't know why. I just like I do not respect the Spire Bluffs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly where I was going. It's like, yeah, you might as well, yeah, done it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make excuses for myself, but by this point in the tournament, I was pretty done. Like I just kind of
Yeah.
I knew I was gonna scoop no matter what after this.
Okay. Yeah,
Keen Eye
makes sense.
Curator. So maybe a bit of a punish here. I don't know. Like I think I probably, if we went back to the original line, this Keen Eye Curator actually probably would have stuck no matter what. I very likely would have played um, the combustion technique and the what's it called, the firebending lesson on the chocobo.
Well, it would have been this turn, right? So like, what would have happened is you would have gone turn two, abandoned attachments, and then turn three, their chocobo is would be a 2/3, and you would have you go firebending the badger mole cub, and
Right.
then you could have the choice to pass on turn three, and then you could pass with like the combustion technique up, and yeah, maybe to go like play a land, hit you like there's a chance that you could combustion technique the Keen Eye Curator, but then you take three from the Chocobo Cup, so you kind of have to think things through. And if you care about the three, but to be like they don't win by chip damage, yeah,
Right.
I guess what
Yeah.
I'm saying is like you could have gone like turn two abandoned attachments, turn three, firebending lesson pass, and then you could have potentially had combustion technique to use on their keynight on the end step, but then they would have a 3/4 chocobo in play instead. So I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because like at the time when I was playing this, I just felt like on autopilot, like, oh, this game is unwinnable for me. And like I'm just seeing all the poor decisions that I've made now that you pointed out, starting with a mulligan or the lack thereof. And it's just like, well, maybe this wasn't unwinnable. Maybe I just am a bad player.
Yeah, I mean, this
Here, I think it's
I was
yeah.
gonna
Go
say
on.
Kenai. I don't think Kenai's that like Kenai feels bad to play against, but if you think from their shoes, Kenai's actually kind of struggle street for them a little bit too, because like they have to pay one mana just to exile every lesson in your graveyard. Obviously, it can become a 7/7. That's a good meme, but you know what I mean. Like, do you think if you just play a green deck with four Kenai, you're gonna start like easily beating lessons? Like, it has its own problems. Like, it doesn't work against Artist Talent Monument that well. It can just get abraded in Iro's demonstration a lot of the time, and like they have to spend mana to exile lessons from their graveyard, which means they're like not developing. I mean, I'm not saying it's not good against you. I think it is good, but it's not like I don't think it's some insane like hate card. Like just it's good to be aware of the
Yeah.
limitations of the Kenai too. And like just imagine like yeah, I was playing mono green and I didn't feel like adding a bunch of Kenai would be that good of a hate angle because I'm like, well, if this is if they have Artist Talent Monument, it's just gonna lose anyway. I mean obviously then it forces like I know it's good against the lesson package or whatever. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of an interesting choice because it's like yeah, maybe you could level the talent or you can go Artist Talent plus play accumulated wisdom or you could accumulate wisdom.
So yeah, um, I completely like I thought of leveling the talent afterwards, and I actually think there's a lot of merit to that because I'm not sure how good an artist talent into like a cycle to accumulate wisdom with a loot really is. And I don't know, like I guess like combustion technique or abandoned attachments, yeah, at least could have given me the option to um, like get the keen-eyed curator off the board, maybe. I don't know, dig a little more. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Like, what would you have done in this position? I ended up going with talent into accumulate wisdom, looted away the island, and then you'll see what happens after that. But um, like, how would you have played this? Love to
I
hear
mean,
your
I think
thought
that's
process.
reasonable. I mean, the problem is if you return the combustion technique, it's like face up. So then they kind of know to like exile
Right.
lessons from your graveyard. So it's like it's gonna be pretty hard for you to get lessons. I mean, it does like mean like I mean, it's good to know when you give your opponent information. It's not like all free for them. You know what I mean? It means that they're like, oh, now if they cast like a 4-drop, like a Myform Harmonizer, then they're tapped out and you can kill it, right? But it does mean like to a
Yeah.
degree they're aware you have combustion techniques. So like they might, trying to bet like exile your abandoned attachments, whatever. And obviously, yeah, here you have accumulated wisdom. So you could be like, okay, like let's say they go play a 3-drop and exile my abandoned attachments, then I can go band accumulated wisdom, and then I can exile their keen-eyed whatever. But it is also like one thing is like it's like, am I gonna run out of cards? Like one of the things is like talent is 4 mana to draw a card, but if you play talent plus wisdom, it's like, maybe is that providing enough cards? Like, I guess then you think so. Like, you draw, you're gonna untap next turn with 3 cards in hand. So like, you have one card from draw step, one card from rummaging away a land, and then one card that you anticipate of the accumulated wisdom. So then it's like, you know, like it's obviously it's like the more efficient play to play artist talent plus accumulate wisdom, and then the situation you're going to be in is you're going to have those spells because like also if you level now you might be in a position that's awkward mana wise because then you might next turn like let's say like you might have 5 lands in play but you can only spend 4 mana, whereas if you go artist talent plus accumulated wisdom
Hmm.
you might be more likely to like use all your mana if that makes sense. So like I could see like maybe not returning to combustion technique and just going like artist talent plus combustion plus wisdom. Like there might even be a world where you like level the artist talent next turn. I'm just like yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like we're gonna have 3 cards. I'm like the good thing about talent is it means we're gonna have an extra card, but it's like maybe I'd rather try and just get on the board and then the 3 cards in my hand hope that that's enough to like find a monument at some point. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind
That
of a
makes
close
sense.
play. Like
So
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I like I didn't give it anywhere near the amount of thought that I should have. I just kind of blindly went into this.
yeah. I
And
I do think it's like yeah. I mean probably the biggest thing pushing me to the artist talent plus accumulated wisdom is just the mana efficiency because I feel like if we level now, I feel like it might be hard to use our 5th mana next turn, and like that feels awkward to me. Kind of like I want to use the 5th mana.
yeah.
Also, I could see if they don't block, you could potentially wait because then you have more information what to take off the anticipate.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
The
I
illusion of
went for
choice,
damage here kind of. Yeah.
as we like to say in the.
Yeah.
Also, there you can see it. There are
And then
4 lands in a row. There it is.
yeah,
It happens.
yeah, so this is where it all kind of just falls apart.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess a good analogy to scare people when if you think about too many cards isn't enough, just imagine you're playing like Russian roulette with like 100 people. You know, you won't feel good about the 1 in 100 odds anymore. Like a lot of people like will be like, yeah, I have like 98% odds, and not I want better odds to survive. Okay, so yeah, I mean this looks
So
pretty
yeah,
tough
I
for
don't know.
you
I
because you
grabbed
drew
the
5 lands.
combustion and the technique, but yeah, I mean this game's pretty much over at this point.
Yeah, I mean maybe if their hand you could win, maybe if their hand's bad or whatever, or like I mean it's not like if you draw on a braid, like their guy's just a 3/3. I don't know if they can make it a 7/7. Oh yeah, they can. I guess no, there's no
I think
sorcery.
they could take an island.
Well, that's only
Oh
four
yeah,
times.
they're yeah, they don't have sorcery, right?
Yeah, so like you could just like draw in a braid, and then you just like your hand gets good quickly with the artist talent. So I don't know if it's like that horrible. Okay, so now they're kind of just stunting on you or whatever. So yeah, I don't know here like
Yeah,
maybe chump block because
I
otherwise
guess
you're dead, I
chump
guess.
block.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then they do that, and you're like okay, like
draw
give me a
another
broadside
land,
barrage. Yeah.
and that's pretty much it.
Well, you can like
Uh,
I don't know if it's right to level like because you can go like combustion. I mean, maybe it is. I guess it's probably fine. I don't know. I didn't count it all out, but yeah, you could potentially win if you draw like uh something good. I guess like if you just draw one removal spell, you can stay in it. Like if you drew the broadside barrage or Iroh's
oh yeah, you're talking
demonstration.
about the loot, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, because I have 6 lands, combustion technique, and then I still have 4 lands to
yeah,
play with. Yeah,
yeah.
I guess
You're
I think I
accusing your
could.
opponents of scooping too early, but you're the ones wanting to. You're getting too depressed too
Yeah,
early.
that's basically.
Well, because like you have a lot, like if you draw Iroh's demonstration, you can just deal 4 to the might form. If you draw like boomerang basics, I mean then that's sketchy because then you can like then it grows their thing is the problem. But like yeah, you could just draw like an Iroh's demonstration for might of a form, and then what are they gonna do? Like swing for 4 or 5? But then you like untap with like a
Yeah,
million lands and everything. Anyway, so yeah, I mean this looks pretty tough out here. I mean maybe you play the talent and well you could even like yeah I guess this is fine because you want to have the blue red land up, so you do that, spread that. There you see an Iris demonstration now, and maybe you play it. I don't know. I guess it's yeah, so you don't take a million damage. You have to. Yeah, you have to play it. So you do it. Nothing to rummage. Sure. That, let's see. But it's a sorcery.
like
So
what?
the other guy's a 7/7. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like, where do I go from here is a problem, right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, maybe you
I
had to kill the
draw.
Cheetah. Maybe you had to kill the Cheetah. I don't. I don't.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, actually, shit. Damn, I think you're right, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean,
Because like
let's say they have Fable.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like, I mean, there's a couple of things that punish that, but I mean, I'm like kind of dead no matter what if they have those things. Like, I still But yeah, damn.
Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, here it's like a survival mode. It's like, is there any way I can even win? Okay, so now they attack for
Right.
9. They have some sketchy beatdowns concepts in their head, and
And that's it.
it's over. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. If, yeah, no, you have exactly 6 mana. Okay, so yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
let's see.
I sideboarded the exact same way. Annuls, flash freeze, torch. Took out a basics. Took out the storm chaser's talent. Looks like I brought in
Yeah,
an abrade, and that's it.
yeah. Like that's one thing I think is combustion technique. Like you can see when people have a lot of graveyard hate, it gets like more unreliable. So then like maybe like broadside and other stuff. But obviously it's weird because it's a lesson and like lessons
Yeah,
are good and it's a good card. Anyway, okay, so okay,
I think it's definitely merit there.
yeah.
I guess I kept this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more into this hand because it has abandon attachment. So like, we're not just gonna sit here and do nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
abandon's pretty good at getting our lesson because like we're gonna have like a bunch. Like, yeah, because I feel like the abandon makes a big difference, and we even have the Agna Kella as a backup or whatever, um, thingy. Yeah. So you do that. Yeah, you do that, and yeah. So they do that. Let's see. Oh no. Yeah, you're probably thinking. Oh, here you're just thinking about it. You're like, should I do the combustion technique? Should I do the abandon?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you're thinking.
I'm pretty sure I do the
Okay, you do
abandon
abandon.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
What I
Yeah.
discard the multiversal passage.
Oh, there's a Spire Bluff making an appearance.
Yeah,
I could see considering maybe playing the Monument, but it is definitely kind of tough or whatever. But yeah, well, I guess what did you think there? Was it? I mean, well, you said you were kind of
I thought
tuned
about
out.
it. Yeah, I was a little zoned out here, but I thought about it and like they could play like some kind of 4 drop or a wagon. Um, it's not the end of the world, right? Like I don't know why I ended up I probably just autopiloted the removal here. But yeah, I guess it's not the worst, right? Like just get that out of the way. Like
Yeah, the
eat your
problem is
veggies
just
or
like
whatever, as they say.
yeah, I feel like there's a good like there's a lot like it's like what can go wrong if we fire bending less than this? And I feel like one of those things is they play a 3 drop and then we just have our 2 mana there and we're like, oh, we didn't use 2 mana, and then it's next turn. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
so that's why yeah, I
yeah,
might get the monuments out. Like it's not going to do anything for a while, obviously, and you give them a mana, but yeah, like it's like you're taking away 2 mana from yourself by not playing the monument. Like you get to deny them a mana. Like you always like what am I giving up by removing the
right.
cub? It's like, yeah, I'm denying them a mana, but I'm also denying myself 2 mana. So I'm literally denying myself more mana. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, right? I mean, like let's say they play Esper Origins or something like that. Like what am I going to do? Combustion technique, the land. So yeah, I mean,
yeah.
it makes a lot
And
of
you could even
sense.
potentially go like Agna Kella, loot, make a treasure next turn, and then Firebending Lesson was the land. Yeah, so yeah, it's
Yeah,
like just that
damn.
ascension.
And yeah, so like pretty punished here. So I guess I felt priced in at the moment into just techniquing the land, but I think I ended up not doing it
Yeah,
to avoid giving them another counter.
yeah,
Like
that's what I
it's
would
all
say. I would
bad,
say
man.
don't technique it. Like giving them the counter, the counter's so bad, giving them the landfall. Yeah, I would be tempted. I
Yeah,
mean, I know it's mana efficient, but I would be like trying to hold it for a big guy. And yes, okay, so here's the Agnikella. You could even
yeah,
slow roll the Agnikella technically, but maybe not, just to like hide the information. But it's kind
yeah.
of marginal.
I literally thought of that right as I played it. I was like, wait a minute, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
So
but I don't know.
yeah,
So then you, yeah,
I bounced this. I don't know. Like, what do you think?
I mean, what do you think? Do you think you did much happen? I don't know. Like, I don't like
No.
bouncing. It's like what the card Wood Elves. Did you play when that was a popular card?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't like to bounce their Wood Elves. I mean, there's times when it's the thing. I mean, I guess
yeah,
it's like you're probably like, okay, like what if they go Ice Tail and then they get counters? Yeah, like obviously it's
yeah.
like
I
if
mean, I wish I could say I gave this any thought. I was just like bounce the thing, kill the 4/4 land.
yeah,
Although they could just make another 2/2 or whatever.
yeah. I would probably. I
And
mean, if it was
yeah,
now, I mean, if it was the game now, though, I would like what like do you think it's kind of close? Would you be like, would you be like, I don't know?
I think I just straight up don't bounce, right? Like, I mean, what's the like? So they can make a 4/4 land. I do have an answer. They'll hit me for four, whatever. And they have to respend their mana on the same thing. But like, they could also just choose not to do that, right? Like they could just, I don't know, play another Badger Mole and just play a bunch of crap. Like I'm not sure what I accomplished by doing it. I guess like I think holding it is probably the best thing to do. And I am able to like Agnicella and then have a one mana spell next turn to better answer whatever comes up. It, I'm not sure what I really gained. Like if anything, like I priced myself into probably having to use a combustion technique, and I don't even have the mana to do it if I want to Agnicella. So I kind of like guaranteed that I like have three lands by doing that if I find myself facing down like a 4/4 that has to get killed or something.
Yeah, like that's one of the problems of like bouncing it. Like not only do they just get a land anyway, because it's like when they play that card, it's like they draw a card almost. They get a card in play. But also they could just make their 2/2 into a 4/4, and now it's kind of big. Um, so yeah, I mean obviously like that's a
Yeah,
situation where it's like okay, whatever you do, your win rate's kind of bad. But yeah, you could be like, yeah, I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything, so I'll just pass. I mean it's kind of weird, but yeah. But anyway,
yeah,
so yeah, we keep going on. We keep moving on. I mean, there's the treasures thing, right? Yeah, because now they get the landfall as a chocobo. It's disgusting.
yup,
They even
yeah,
play the land first so they can attack as a 4/4. Just to try and, yeah, do it
yeah. It's
all.
pretty good for them.
Okay. Oh, accumulated
And
was.
then
Yeah.
so here, I mean, obviously, forget the monument, right? Just lead with the wisdom, and then see what happens.
Yeah, it
Um,
makes sense. Probably don't even play a land first, mate, potentially. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what you
I think
do.
I just
Yeah, because like maybe you'll draw like okay,
yeah,
so you draw a grand. Like look at that. Look,
but
this is you see when you play these Phoenix Extra Logic. It's just draw like three crap cards all the time. So you just need to keep drawing more.
it's two games in a row of this crap. And
Yeah.
yeah, I held up the combustion technique. Um, I think that's correct, right? Like, so they play a bristly. This is where, like, I mean, the
But
game's just kind of
well, I
over
could
after this.
see. Yeah, I mean, I could see like main phasing it on the Chocobo, but I don't know. It's
I
kind of
thought about that. Yeah, I wasn't sure.
like, well, what else? Like,
Yeah,
are you planning to hit another creature? Like, will you hit the forest? The problem is if you hit the forest, the Chocobo is bigger anyway. Maybe you should main phase on the Chocobo. I don't know if you're trying to hide information that so like they don't know or like something of that sort.
I was more concerned about like
Might form or
might form into like I don't know how many counters are on their enchantment, but like basically might form into fetch land trampling creature situation. So I was more like tunnel vision on getting one shotted or something rather than like dealing with the actual specific threats.
yeah. I mean, it's not too horrible. I guess. Let's see. So they do this. I mean, it's just dying. I guess. Yeah. I guess you can fast forward through this misery.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you shoot that. Could they have saved it, or did you have too many lessons? Because what was it, a 2/3? Couldn't they have
No,
saved it?
I had it was a 2/3. I had one, two, three, four lessons. So I don't think they could save it here, right?
Is that 6 damage? Okay,
In-
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's a good amount of damage. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I didn't really give up. Yeah, it seems like fine to do it on their turn, I guess, because it's like it's just marginal stuff. Okay, so they're doing this, and you're basically dead. Okay,
Yeah.
they're doing that. Okay.
Um.
Oh, it is another
So
miss. Honestly, I could have seen starting
yep,
with a
another
grand
land.
desperation attack, but I don't know. It looks pretty tough here. Maybe that's not the right
Yeah,
play.
maybe you're right. Yeah, I don't know. And then Grand's discounting stuff here, so I play a land,
Yeah.
attack, and then wait, what am I doing here?
Oh, you're playing the monument, so you can make a treasure.
Okay, yeah,
So this leaves you dead on board probably, because you can only make one treasure, or can you make two treasures?
yeah. I can make two treasures here, but
Oh yeah, you didn't hit.
I mean, I would have needed. I'd have to draw. I'm actually I'm dead on board no matter what by doing this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess like let's just erase that from our memories real quick. And like, is there anything I could have done here to even get out of this?
I
Starting
mean, it
here,
looks pretty over. Like they have like
it's over,
four,
right?
yeah, like they have four must answer threats here. Like they have the Earthbend Ascension on 5. They have Ice Till. They have Bristly Bill. That's gonna. They have a 7/7. I feel like we could go next. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, this is pretty over.
It's
All right. So, and we can watch how they kill me if we want to have some fun with that.
yeah. I guess it's a good
Oh,
humbling
I guess
experience.
I just scoop here. Yeah. All right. So what else do we got? So we got. I think that's it for the Super Q. I got 10th place in the Standard Challenge yesterday. I have some of those matches. Let's see. We got more green white. Um, we have Simic, saying it correctly this time. We have blue red looting. Is it looting? Which has always been kind of a tough matchup for me. Um, I could pull that up if you want to see a change of pace.
Yeah. Take a break from the chocobos for now. You know.
Yeah. The only other one I got is yeah. Let's just watch this one. I have Demir, but like that was a one of those where the opponent just was like rage quitting both games, so it's not that
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I'll be back. Just give me like 20 seconds. I'll be back in.
Cool.
Okay, I'm back. Uh, let's see. It said, is it? Oh, Crazy Morango. Okay.
You know this person?
No, it sounds familiar. Maybe I do. It sounds like a Zoomer probably if I had to guess. Okay, so that's scary. They know the new concepts.
So I have artist talent. I This was a keep for me.
Yeah, seems like a fine keep. Soon you'll get some steam vents over these passages, so it'll be even smoother.
Yeah. Yeah. Led with.
Okay, this is interesting here. Yeah, this is game one, right? Yeah. Did you have any thought?
Yeah.
Like, what did you just like play the land? Or did you think about playing a top land at all? Or
Um. So I'm on the draw. I think right. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, they played like a blue red land. I figured I'll keep the firebending lesson up just in case they have I don't know, like they top deck like a Storm Chaser's Talent or a Grand or something like that. It felt free to do. I guess I'm losing 2 life. Um, I don't know. Maybe that was a bad play since they had no turn 1 play. I'm like playing to their top decks rather than playing to not
well, I was gonna say one
lose
thing
life.
is if they play Storm Chaser's talent, like, do you even want to use the firebending lesson on it?
Um,
Because you have this artist talent, so you might want to
I
wait
guess
till you can use it to rummage.
right.
Like
Yeah,
against this all
yeah.
removal.
I like if I'm so the way I feel if I'm playing against looting, which I didn't know yet at this point, I'd be more inclined to use it early. Maybe that's not correct because like that deck plays like an aggro deck, and I find myself like really, you know, um, like trying to protect my life total. But if I'm playing like any other variant, like I think I'm much more inclined to wait in that case. I think you're bringing up a pretty good point.
Well,
Maybe that's wrong with looting too. Like I've been losing a lot to looting. So, what are your thoughts?
one thing is, what do you accomplish by removing the Storm Chaser's talent earlier? You accomplish one, you're more mana efficient in a way, and two, maybe you
Hmm.
save life. But if you pay 2 life, you gotta, you know what I mean? This is like you're not really saving life because you're paying the life anyway back, right? Like you gotta, if you play
Yeah.
top lane, you gotta play
Yeah.
top lane now. So you're not really saving life by cutting the talent. And the thing about being mana efficient is like, well, when it's turn 3, like you're probably gonna have the extra mana to use fire. Like you know what I mean? Like I guess one thing about mana efficiency is like you don't need the mana efficiency if you're not gonna be efficient anyway. I'm just thinking we have artist talent and we have like 3 removal spells. And like imagine if they go like turn 2 talent, turn 3 Winter Night Stories, and then it's like maybe we would have
Yeah.
wanted to loot. I'm just thinking about that, and also if it's a mirror, like now you're saying it's looting, but imagine if it's a mirror or something of the sort, and
Yep.
they don't even have any creatures, and I'm just sitting there with talent. You can't do anything. But I guess I would be. I do value like playing the tap land a little bit. What like if I don't think I'm gonna use the spell. Obviously, if you're like okay, it's mostly like the format knowledge of like there's not that many 2 drops I'm probably gonna shock. I mean, like maybe you want to shock a Thunder Trap Trainer. I guess that's kind of like a tricky question to ask. But I was just thinking, oh, we're probably not gonna play a spell this turn. Might as well save the 2 life. But yeah, you could be like, what are the spells they could play that you could shoot? Like if it's a grand, that's like reasonable to shoot, but it's still not even obvious that you want to shoot it because you might even still want to just like save the rummage. Because I'm thinking we have a lot of rummaging we need to be doing. A lot of these spells need to be get need to get cast. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we have 3 removal spells. I want to start casting them with the Paladin play. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm just thinking, okay, if we don't cast this, like it's like if we don't cast the spell this turn, it would be nice to get the land into play tapped. But obviously, it's if they played like a Badger, like imagine if it's Team or Otters and they play Badger World Cup. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that or we can keep going. That's just what I
No,
would
it's
consider.
all very fair points. I mean, yeah, I think Honestly, I think Thundertrap Trainer is like the only one I can think of. And I'm not even sure if
Yeah,
like I mean
because
you're bringing up pretty strong points.
yeah, because it's looting. Because imagine if they go play Nathan or play FOMO, and now you just have to pay 2 life next turn for no reason. Not only do you have to pay 2 life next turn, but you have to like you're gonna have to pay 2 life a bunch of times because you have like 3 of these lands.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, man, I want to get
Yeah.
some of this fucking some of these lands tapped. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
100%.
that's influencing my thinking for sure. Like if you only had 1 passage in hand, I mean, this is kind of like a weird thing, but it's like since you have 3, I'm like, man, it would be nice to save 2 life. I'm gonna have to. Anyway, so they do that. They
Yeah.
drop a Nathan.
Yeah.
Okay, it
They
happens.
definitely.
Yeah,
Yep. It happened.
yeah. And through my infinite wisdom, my free 2 life is revealed. Okay. Yeah,
um. So yeah, shock myself here.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, you shock yourself.
Play the
Yeah,
artist
play
talent.
talent makes sense. Seems pretty reasonable because like I kind of you kind of want to
I
get
thought for a minute about like, oh,
if you
should I
want to
play this
Iros.
chasing this thing, but I didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not crazy to consider. Like it's like what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing is imagine if they play the Frost Prestige and they like Jeskai and then they like draw a card and now they have this thing in play. But it seems fun to play talent because of what I was saying earlier. Like you have a bunch of removal and you kind of want to start rummaging. Okay, so this happens. I guess you have a choice of
Yeah.
which one to kill. Uh, yeah.
I think I can. I mean, I don't know why I'm hovering over the pass. I just seem to be making that mistake a lot lately. But I feel like I should kill the duelist and probably discard a firebending lesson. Get a lesson in the graveyard. It's pretty ineffective in this matchup anyway. At least, yeah. And then I don't know. See what I draw from there.
Well, I can see like one
I,
minor, yeah, one minor consideration. The only thing is that like you might rather, if you want to name Red with Passage, then you could I keep talking about Spirebluff before, but like imagine if like I could see a world where you want to name Red with Passage, so you like play Passage, name Red, then then you kill the Nathan, and then you play the Grand because that way you don't have to name Blue because like you might want to name Red because you have so many islands in your deck, right? So and you
yeah.
have so many red cards in
I
hand.
actually, man, that sounds familiar. Like I might have actually done that.
Yeah, maybe you were thinking
No,
that.
I didn't.
Yeah, yeah, I'm just
I
thinking.
was
I mean,
thinking about it.
yeah, I was just thinking that like the problem here is you have so many red cards in hand and whatever. Oh, you actually discard one of the passages,
Yeah, and I
which
discarded a
seems
fuck ton.
reasonable. Yeah, because you're like, okay, maybe I'll cast a lesson. I mean, it's kind of close. Like, I don't know what's better. I think like it's reasonable to discard either firebending or a thing. But again, yeah. So let's see. Yeah, so you go for grand.
Yeah, and then
It is kind of
yeah, pretty precarious position because like I don't know. I mean I know I have a wisdom and like I can loot, but yeah, I'm
yeah. It's
all
actually
island now.
it's almost yeah. I mean, it's kind of a weird line, or it's kind of weird because like there's these weird positions where it's almost more mana efficient to hold the grand because you're gonna get the discount next turn. Like you could almost see a world where like maybe you don't want to do it, but you could go like Boomerang, Basics, FOMO, discard, Firebending Lesson. Then you have 3 lessons in your graveyard. The next turn you can play Grand with Accumulated Wisdom for 1 mana. Um,
Oh shit. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's the best play,
Damn.
but that's just like that's something that comes up where it's like, okay, I could like instinctively you want to play the Grand, but sometimes you can actually like make more mana by holding it. And also they're stuck on land, so
Yeah,
like they're
that
pretty
helps
likely
a
to like
lot. Yeah.
have to cast removal. So I could see considering that. But anyway, yeah, we can keep going. I mean, this looks like
Yeah.
it's because now you can just go Combustion Technique, the FOMO, and then play Accumulated Wisdom, like on their turn maybe. I mean, if they Spell Pierce, it's kind of beats, I guess. So let's see. So you Combustion Technique. This is where on Arena you're like, man, you're checking like the if they have the auto pass on. Yeah, here you're like, okay, no spell, no Spell Pierce to play
Yeah.
around. Yeah, like no Spell Pierce to play around. Yeah, that's the Arena level, dude. The fucking the passes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the arena sub games right there.
Okay, yeah. So you keep everything. Yeah, I think that makes sense here because your cards are kind of good, and
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable spot to keep everything. So they go Riddle. They play Riddler, but it's kind of Jover. Yeah, we could almost go. I mean, I guess we could watch this to like go do this technical sequencing. Um, yeah, this is interesting. Like I could have almost like I might have almost instinctively wanted to play the Monument. Okay, there's just Scoop, but maybe this was better. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yes. So I don't know. Like I just felt like, oh, I can wait on the monument. They're missing land drops. Let me like fuck around and draw more cards and shit. Maybe I
I mean,
was
maybe
being
you
a little
can't.
too greedy there.
Yeah, maybe you can't lose. I don't know. I mean, it's probably
Yeah, I guess I wanted to do stuff this turn, and like the monument wasn't gonna let me do that. Like I'd play it and then pass, and they could maybe boomerang basics it. Like what's in their hand, Like I don't know. It's yeah, I don't know. But yeah, they just scoop the good example of I guess
yeah.
this is a fair scoop, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's a pretty good scoop. I mean, I don't know the. I was just thinking like the thing is if they bounce your monument, you can make a treasure lake. You could go like, but whatever. It's like it's hard to do
Yeah.
as in
Yeah.
losing maybe. I mean, if you well, it is good in these situations where you're very far ahead to try and identify like what's the only way that I lose. And like maybe it's like they play a Frostcliff Siege next turn is probably the scary thing. So maybe it's good defensive aggro to play the monument. But anyway, you have the discount anyway, so I don't know. And you can bounce the siege anyway. So yeah, we can just go next.
Yeah, I think you're like the boomerang
Yeah, you're
is
probably like, oh,
good,
what if
but
they braid it? So like, I want to hold it. It's like, yeah, it's not okay. So you're sideboarding. Yeah,
yeah.
let's see. I guess.
Not sure how I'm supposed to be sideboarding. Let's see what I did. So I'm looking at the emails. Oh, okay. So I've been following Jacob Pablo's. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sideboarding plan here, where I just take out the combo completely, and I play like Riddlers, Ral, and Slag Storms and Annuls and counter magic basically. And I've had more success with this strategy than I did with like trying to stand up the combo because they're just so aggressive. Like they get under us pretty easily. And I don't know. So I'm actually glad we're going through this because I've been meaning to ask you about this matchup and like do you think I'm crazy for doing this? Like how would you normally approach it?
Yeah, I mean, I would be a little bit skeptical of signing out all the talents because I feel like it's really strong in the deck with the accumulated wisdoms and stuff. And I don't really see it like as much as a combo per se. I just think I feel like artist talent's just strong in the deck because it makes like the deck work, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. But maybe it's
Yeah.
reasonable to be like, oh, they like maybe you're trying to like juke their nulls or like maybe you know, uh, yeah. I mean, like I could see this, being reasonable, I guess, but it depends like what are the quality of cards you're siding in. Like, is a Soul God Lantern going to do anything? It looks like there's one. I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say I'm kind of like I don't see Talon as a combo card. I feel like Talon's like a 1 card combo to me. The 1 card combo is like make your deck work and like good with your wisdom. Because now you just have like these abandoned attachments and stuff that are kind of whatever. But
Yeah.
maybe it's reasonable because maybe it's just like play to the board. Like maybe the idea is just play to the board and like win with Riddlers and Rals. So I don't know. It seems I could see it. It's pretty aggressive, but like let's say your opponent has a lot of braids and nulls, then like I think before I was
Yeah.
considering trimming my Storm Chaser talents, but like maybe they're good.
I don't have a lot of agency on that decision, just to be,
Yeah.
and not trying to put Jacob on the spot and make you like, yeah, I don't know, like share your thoughts on his strategies. But Yeah, it's just more like someone smarter than me was doing this, and I was just kind of doing it. But like when you're talking about the talent, are you talking about the talent on its own, or do you mean like the package with the monument, like
Yeah, I mean, even without
where you,
like, yeah, I meant like the red talent to me is kind of a one card combo because it's like a one card combo with accumulated wisdom, if you know what I mean. Like once you have red talent, once
yeah,
you have red
yeah,
talent down, you're gonna be pretty good at finding accumulated wisdom and then drawing your deck. And also like if you have boomerang bit, like it helps you assemble your powerful things like the boomerang basics plus storm chaser. But yeah, I meant it's like a one card combo with accumulated wisdom. But like the logic of this sideboarding must be like you're gonna just try and like play to the board and like not artist talent. Yeah, I think it's like a reasonable sideboard plan. Like I don't hate it.
yeah,
The only thing I would say is that like the big question is like what's better, like having Storm Chaser's Talent Boomerang Basics or having Artist Talent Monument. But maybe it's like, well, the Boomerang Basics and the Talent are more mana efficient. Because as you were saying on screen, like I don't know how good Storm Chaser's Talent is against them, but it is a cheap card, so maybe you just want to get on the board. Maybe you can block with it. You know what I mean? Do a little bit of
yeah.
prowess on the
It's
turn.
interesting. Yeah, I guess I was thinking the same thing about Storm Chaser's talent for this matchup. Like their Storm Chasers talents are better than ours because they can just like turn
Like
the
Frostbite
tokens
Siege.
into 2/1s. Yeah, they got Frostcliff like, and so it's just like weird to fight them on that axis because like they were just better than us in every way when it comes to creatures and stuff. Also, I feel like there's a sign that my list is misconfigured because taking out the artist talent and the monuments, I'm like short 2 cards, which means I have to bring cards back in. Maybe I should have just brought in 2 talents at the least, even with this plan. Like, but found myself bringing in like a talent and a broadside barrage, which I don't think broadside necessarily is great.
Yeah, it's not
I mean,
horrible.
it's
Like
kind
it.
of like another, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
mean,
another abrade, I guess, but more expensive.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess one thing is Storm Chaser's talent is kind of good with like Ral and Riddler in a way, because like playing the Storm Chaser's talent gets you hellbent for Riddler more easily, and like getting a board presence is good with
Mm,
Ral. But anyway, we can. That's just kind of the big question is like how good is Storm Chaser's? Because even Boomerang Basics, like it's kind of okay against some of their stuff, but like a lot of their stuff's not that amazing to bounce. I guess you can bounce their otter tokens
yeah,
too. Like you can bounce a siege technically, but it's like if you have boomerang basics in your opening hand, it's not necessarily that trivial to get value off of it all the time. But anyway, so yeah, so let's see what happens here.
yeah. I ended up bringing in a flash freeze instead of the what's it called, the broadside barrage, which is pretty narrow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to revisit, but I think you're bringing up some pretty good points around artist talent.
Well, yeah, you
So
can
yeah,
see here that like the
here,
Storm Chaser's talent's pretty sad. Not the artist talent would be that much better. I mean, it would be better, I think, but maybe not.
I passed with a null up here, and I don't remember why I did that.
Well, because if
Like
they play FOMO, I
I
guess you
don't.
could, maybe you don't want them to play
Oh
FOMO.
yeah, it was yeah, it was FOMO. That was the reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
think
don't know
that's
if maybe that was not correct.
No, I think it's pretty reasonable. Again, you don't like the thing is like if you're mana efficient with this is what I mean by like yes, you could be mana efficient with talent, but you're not using the efficiency anyway. Because look at your hand, you're just gonna have dead mana anyway. And like these annuls kind of badly want to
Yeah.
counter or whatever thingy. So yeah, now you get a bait out there, no quote unquote the bait spell, quote unquote. Um, I could almost even see like not playing talent for a turn, but I guess it's like like there's a lot of weird mini tensions here because like you have these passages that want to be played tap. You have uh there are worlds where you might want to cast double and null. Okay, so this is interesting. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Warp Riddler. I don't know what counter spells they play, but like if they can't counter it, this seems fine. Okay, they have
And
get
they do.
out.
They got get out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I could see some worlds where maybe you hold it, but seems fine to play it out because you have Ral anyway. I don't know. Like they probably don't have the thing is they're just passing with mana
Yeah.
open, so it's like kind of making me think maybe they have a counter, but like they don't play that many counters anyway. Although it's not always bad if they counter it because then it saves it up for later or whatever. But uh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I thought maybe like I don't know what counters they played. I thought maybe it was baiting out something more versatile. This feels kind of bad, I guess, but
yeah, if they have a
um,
spell pierce, we'll see. We'll
yeah, it's
see.
like they're kind of
You might need to
they're
just
either
pass
looking for
again.
one or
Yeah. Well, also like you could be thinking
yeah.
like yeah. Well, I was gonna. There's like worlds where like you might want to cast double annuls, but there's also worlds where like yeah, you might want to like this turn play
Mm,
Riddler and
yeah.
then pass with a null rather than play Ral because of the whole way that it's been going. But yeah, you could just play Passage tapped here, I guess. Maybe I don't know. Or were you thinking about slamming
Yeah.
Ral? Or...
I think I slammed, or I don't know. I think I did slam it. I felt like I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know why. I don't remember my thinking.
Well, maybe you're like, what if they just cast Riddler this turn? Then I'll feel bad for like passing. Like the biggest punish, like if you think what's the biggest punish for not playing Ral, it's like what if their hand's just a bunch of Riddlers? I mean, obviously they have a Riddler, they just discarded one probably. Like it's pretty likely to have one, and they could just
Yeah.
cast
Oh,
a Riddler.
yeah. That. Yeah. I think I saw. Yeah, they discarded a Riddler, and I was thinking like, all right, they're gonna kill me with Riddlers starting next turn, so I have to do something here because I
Yeah,
don't
so you
have
play
any answers
Ral.
to it.
It's kind of
Yeah.
tough because like if they have Frostclave plus a 2-drop, yeah, they have Spell Pierce. Like yeah, so they Spell Pierce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I knew your opponent was that a username like that. They'd be doing some next level plays. It sounds like one of the Zoomers, which are probably the best players on
Yeah.
Blue.
Zoomers,
So
man.
yeah,
They're
like
too
they're playing
good.
there. I don't know. So let's see. So they play the Riddler, then they can Winter Knight it. Yeah, they're just kind of playing you like a fiddle here.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes sense. I mean, our only choice was like the Riddler turn, but yeah, you can see the small. So then they go play a Nathan, and you got these annuls looking foolish. So
Yeah.
so yeah, here you can discard an annul maybe.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, that's a misdraw. Yeah, so you could just Iros and maybe shock yourself. I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, let's see what you do. Deciding what color to name. You name blue. Yeah, you Iros this. Sure. Pass. Yeah. And you're like, oh, my deck's so
Another
broken. How am I
Riddler.
losing? Yeah, but you have this wisdom, I guess, which is nice. So you can cast it next turn. Yeah, they're fooling
This is
around.
dope. They basic their own
Yeah,
Riddler right here.
riddle me
They
this.
didn't rewarp it though. What does that mean?
Well, it isn't like you didn't want to lead on the accumulated wisdom. I mean, were you scared of like a negate?
I don't think I had a
Oh, you don't have the
lesson.
third lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense. I just
Yeah.
assumed you had
I,
3 lessons, but never mind. We were just we don't. Makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here,
And then here I think I went.
Brandon shows up. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little interesting. I mean, I think I play Grand and Wisdom here, right? I mean maybe Wisdom on their turn. Um, but
Yeah, this is an interesting
yeah.
example where like maybe you hold the Grand because maybe you want to hold up a null. So then like you're like maybe it's more mana efficient to hold the Grand because next turn they can go Grand plus play Wisdom, and then maybe they're like tapped out of having something up. But I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird. Because like obviously you're like if you don't play like
Yeah.
maybe if you play Grand you can get the loot. I don't know, but I could imagine a world where like you play Grand plus Wisdom and then you like get the discount to like keep chaining the discount because like but I don't know. Because I was just thinking like you might
Yeah.
want to hold up a null, but I don't know. And like if they have Spell Pierce, obviously it sucks. But anyway, it's not like horrible. Like if I was watching my teammate playing in the team trails and they play Grand, I'd be like, seems fine, but seems a consideration to hold it too.
Yeah.
But I do kind of want to
Yeah,
like
I
not
mean,
have a null up. I feel like, yeah.
yeah, I think you're right. Damn, I think I'm thinking about playing the wisdom here.
I mean, it's like not
Why?
horrible because you're like you could clench a land, but it's like the problem is like if you tap out of a null, like yeah,
Right.
it's kind of tough because like yeah, so they do the yeah like here. Also, like you don't
I'm
really
doing
have to
this
do this
wrong,
because you
right?
don't have any one red
Yeah, I
spells in your
know.
deck anyway. Yeah,
Yep.
and is that what happened? They cast what the hell did
Wait,
they
what did they
cast?
do right now?
Detect. Oh, they cast Spider Sense. Makes sense.
Oh, they countered it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you drew
And
another
then I
one
just
just to
drew another
stump.
one.
Yeah. Let's see. It kind of would make sense if they have more counters because they've just been passing every single
Yeah,
turn.
I guess their hand was just like basically blue red control.
Yeah, and they
They
played,
got a
they played this.
duelist. Cool. I um I think I was on auto pass here, so I didn't even. This was some. I fucked
Yeah,
up.
you gave up mentally at this point.
Yeah, it's actually just a really bad like muscle memory habit of mine to like auto pass while I have counter magic up, and so this is just I can't even say I gave up yet. Like I think I was still in it, but
Yeah, you just
yeah, I
click
just
too
missed an
quickly.
opportunity to
Sure.
snipe the Storm Chaser talent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But anyway, so
like I have six basically.
yeah,
Now I'm kind of just
yeah.
dead.
I mean that
Those
you would
get
say that was an aggressive scoop. Like Reed Duke probably wouldn't scoop there, but it's not. Like if I was playing the PT, I might not scoop there because like the thing is you can just draw wisdom off the top and then maybe something happens. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I was playing like a higher level tournament, I definitely think I would stay in it. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was
I mean, a chance to win's probably
yeah,
like below 2%. I don't know, but
yeah. So here, I think I was like, fuck this. I'm bringing bring the cards back in.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, yeah, that was kind of like a weird game because like you had a bunch of like you had a bunch of annuls, but they didn't play into it, and then like you played around the spell pierce.
yeah,
Like probably
because
one of
like
the big things was the Riddler turn was like, yeah, maybe you didn't need to play Riddler. Obviously, it's kind of weird because they don't have that many counters that hit it. But I could have seen it almost like, yeah, I would have just been like thinking for a second, like they're passing with 3 mana. But I don't know, like it might be the only counter spell in their deck, so
yeah,
it was kind of weird. I mean, it's weird because you might maybe it was the right play and you just got punished by something weird, but I would have just checked to see what counter spells they have, I guess. But yeah, they don't have many. But also like I was also thinking there might be a world where you want to cast double annul that turn anyway. Like maybe they like play like a FOMO and then I mean I guess it seems unlikely because you know that you like they probably would have played something I could annul before anyway. But okay, so this happens, sure.
yeah. So I basically like they showed me detect intrusions. Yeah, the get outs. Like I think they sometimes run like a couple of those. And but like it was just such a counter heavy sideboarding, which I'm not familiar with in this matchup. Like usually I they just get more aggressive somehow. A post board, a little bit interactive, but like their aggression like stays on point. But because this person was sideboarding like a control matchup, I felt like I'm bringing the combo back in, like the detect intrusions and like what's the worst that they'll do is like counter a trigger from a talent or something like that's pretty good for me. Um, and you know the get outs like I'll keep the Riddlers, but you know I just wanted my threats back in, like diversify. So
Yeah, I mean I could
that was
see
my
that.
thinking. Is like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
go
could
ahead,
see if
bro.
you're doing this playing, like maybe you don't need the RAL anymore, especially if you saw like the spell pierce maybe, and maybe like have the fourth talent. Because I mean, having 3 talents seems kind of weird. And you know,
Yeah,
maybe there's a
good
card or
point.
two in the
Yeah,
sideboard you could have had. I feel like the abrade, like I'd probably have the abrade in because it kills all their 2 drops. Um, but anyway,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah,
Um,
okay,
so I don't. I mean, this looks like a keep, right? I don't think I don't know what I
yeah.
did. Um,
This is where you eat your
the
vegetables and you play
mana's
your
a little
Agnico
awkward.
tapped and you. Oh yeah, or
I think
let's
I
see, were
went
you
with
greeting it
Grand
up?
Grand on
Oh
one.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. What I mean, well, did you consider playing Agnikella, or were you just like, screw this,
I
I'm
did, and I
pissed?
was just like, you know, if Grand sticks, I'll find my land. I'll get two looks. You know, I'm like, what is it like? A little bit north of 40% to find. Two looks. And if it doesn't stick, you know, I'm kind of fucked for a turn, but then I can like draw into whatever I need. I don't know, probably loose. Sounds like it was just based on your reaction.
Well, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know, maybe it's the right play. It's kind of like weird. I was just thinking it's kind of like guaranteeing we play a 2 drop's kind of nice because like these 2 drops are super clunky. So like if we don't play one of these 2 drops until turn 3, it could be pretty bad because we could go like we could go like turn 2 play a 2 drop, turn 3 play a 2 drop, and then a grand maybe. Whereas if we play turn 1 grand, maybe we go like turn 2 nothing, turn 3 have a bunch of. But obviously, like if our grand lives, it could work out way
Yeah,
better. So it's kind of I don't think it's crazy to play grand
yeah.
grand.
The way they
They
were
could have Tiger Seal
sideboarding was
too. Sorry.
just yeah. That's actually interesting. I don't think I've seen Tiger Seal a single time with this list.
Or maybe they sided
So
it
at
out. I
least
thought maybe they sided it out was the way they were sideboarding. But I was thinking like that's
yeah,
like part of the I guess part of my hesitation was like not only can they have Torch to tower for grand, but they could also have Tiger Seal and just block it, and then it's like tough. Um,
yeah. That'd be
and
pretty
and
tough.
I thought guaranteeing casting the two like I didn't think we're in that bad of a spot. Like I thought like we're on the play and we have double accumulate wisdom, so like if they don't play I was just thinking like if they don't play a graveyard hate, that it might be pretty hard for them to keep up with us because we're just gonna like play Grand and double Wisdom and everything. But anyway, we can keep like I didn't feel like that behind that we had
Yeah.
to take this risk, but yeah, maybe if like obviously it can work out if they play like a talent, you know, because like discard it's like more
Yeah.
powerful in some ways. Anyway, so they do this, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you
No,
draw another abandoned
you're right.
attachments, get trolled,
Um,
and yeah, now you get even though it lived, you still have to feel bad.
yeah, it's awkward as shit.
Yeah. So yeah, you're like, oh, okay. They boomerang basics this thing.
Got the basic
You're
stuff.
like, man, where's my nulls? I set them all out, smashing the keyboard. This is why I keep my diary, so I'm writing in it now to get my composure. Like, what's that Eminem song? It's like
Two
that.
islands.
Dear Pablo, you told me to sound more like this. What is it? But that's what I'd be thinking right now. So yeah,
And then here it's abandon attachments and then play wisdom
yeah, it seems pretty
from a
reasonable.
discarded grand.
Oh, when the Spire Bluff shows up, yeah, it seems reasonable.
I did it right this time.
Yeah, it seems reasonable to get the
I
wisdom
could have.
going. Yeah, because
Yeah,
like
like I felt like I get the wisdom going before all their detect intrusion bullshit starts, right? Like, I guess I mean, like
well,
they didn't have as much counter magic that they've shown me that hits the artist talent. I guess is what I was thinking.
well, I was thinking there might be a world where next turn all you do is just cast removal spells, and like maybe you don't like you'd rather just play the wisdom, and you don't even need to play the talent because you have so many cards in hand. But like maybe just play the wisdom, and then next turn you play all removal. You know what I mean? Like you don't need to get the talent down because you
Yeah,
have so many
yeah,
cards
makes
anyway.
sense.
Yeah, and just yeah resolve it. Also, yeah, they could have graveyard hate too. I mean that's probably the most giga brain intellectual answer. Imagine if they played Soul Guide and
That was the number one thing. Is like,
yeah
Soul Guide or some shit like
yeah.
that.
Man, you got to keeping too much in mind with this deck. So that's how it is,
I
I
know,
guess.
dude. It's still like my brain is dry, dude. I'm old.
Yeah,
I'm 38, man. Like my brain can't handle this, but
yeah,
I'm trying.
yeah, yeah. And that's the worst thing. If you want to be competitive, they're gonna change the format every like 3 months. So you have to learn a new deck every 3 months. I was telling you yesterday, I'm like, first I had to learn that mouse deck, then I had to learn the Corey Steel Cutter deck, then I had to learn the VV deck, and now it's a new lessons deck. And I was in like less than 1 year in standard. So yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
that is crazy. I need to retire. Like I got to get out of my day job at this rate.
Yeah, I was saying like I'm like that's
So
why I like
crazy.
limited. I like the directs because it's sealed. You know what I mean? I don't need to worry with all this nonsense.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, constructed it's tough to keep up with. So you got to pick tactically what tournaments you want to play in, I guess. So you do this, seems reasonable, and yeah, probably maybe you kill an otter because you have like 0 life, I guess. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
torch
think
makes
that's what I do.
sense.
A basics and otter.
Yeah, I could see torching it, but I don't know. My brain's getting too fried. Uh, pass. I mean, it might have
I
been
guess
better to torch like
I figured I'll hold torch plus storm chasers
yeah,
talent, to hit like a
Nathan.
Nathan for
So
3.
yeah, seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. I was thinking there might be a world where you like boomerang basics of Frostcliff Siege, but it seems fine. But it seems fine. Maybe they'll play it or
Mm,
whatever.
yeah.
Seems anyway. So yeah, we can keep going. I just need to recuperate from whatever was happening before. Okay. So yeah, they play Nathan. So there you go. And then they play Soul
And they
Guide.
play the Soul Guide Lantern.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna take me to 7 here.
Oh yeah, some good crime enabling, I guess. Yeah. Let's see for 2. Yeah. And let's see, this is kind of interesting.
So I
Okay, like
figure I'm gonna lead with talent, artist
interesting.
talent.
Yeah,
Um,
this. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's
I
kind of
also have a combustion technique, which I think I fuck up with right now. Sorry, go on.
yeah. It's kind of like yeah. This is a pretty tough because it's like on the one hand, like ideally you don't play a talent this turn. Like the best turn is like you just find things to cast that are good. You just cast those. But talent's
Yeah.
good at hedging if you draw a bunch of bricks. But one of the problems is like you can use a lot of the hands because like you're probably gonna play land this turn, and then yeah, I guess it's reasonable to play the talent. It's like the downside of playing talent is like if you draw like is that like if you just draw good spells to cast, then the second talent could be redundant. But anyway, it seems like I could see like going like leading on like go Storm Chaser's talent, and then maybe like Torch Tower the Nathan. but it's kind of a complicated turn. It seems fine to lead on talent. It's just kind of weird because it's like you have to
Yeah.
manage. Like, am I gonna have enough cards to rummage away? Because like maybe you would even want to rummage away the second talent. So it's just kind of weird. But anyway, it seems fine.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of merit to that, and also the lands are pretty interesting. Like, I'm using up a red. Um, I only
Yeah, you
have
only
two
have
red,
yeah, that's true. You only have two
and
red, and you
so
might want to cast combustion
yeah,
technique and
I
force
have
the
to
tower.
dock myself with a passage possibly. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, because you could do
it's
go
kind of
like combustion
sketchy.
technique, their otter if you miss on everything. So yeah, you discard that. You draw a quench. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I mean here's
But
where
I
things are
think I
getting
messed up
confusing.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I really fucked up here. I wasn't thinking.
yeah, thinking it through how the because yeah, you could technically, I mean, discard the passage probably. Maybe you're thinking about the red shirt. Discard the island's fine, and then yeah, you can discard like I don't know, it's too weird. Okay, good,
Discarding the
good.
lands,
We
I'm
just
like,
moved
I
on.
can't play the shock
So
land.
they do this.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, now you're like, oh fuck. Okay, I see what happened. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can't.
this was the massive fuck up here. Like I just threw.
Yeah,
So
because yeah,
then
here we
like
can see
now
the
I have
weird
to leave this
situation.
otter
Or
in
what?
play.
Yeah, this was like the weird situation I was talking about, where like we're just like all our cards are good, so it's kind of hard to rummage in a way. Like here, I can honestly see almost going like not rummaging. Well, no, you maybe rummage the talent away, and then you like boomerang basics or otter. I don't know.
Yeah, I ended up not rummaging if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Because I was like, I don't have any threats. But I did have to play the boomerang basics on the otter though.
yeah, like I could see like yeah, discard the talent because as you were saying, talent's kind of troll in this matchup. Like it's not
Yeah,
really doing that much,
yeah,
and just try and look for whatever, and you're giving up like 6 million loots kind of because you have the grand and then this, so you attack,
yeah.
and then yeah, like I could see discarding the talent, and then yeah, you do it now, and then I could see not
I
discarding
guess I'm
anything, and then you could
looking at the quench.
no, hard with the
Why,
punch.
why, why, why?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean if you were playing now, yeah,
Okay, I got rid of the talent.
yeah, I mean, here I
Did the
like
right
not
thing.
doing anything, like just pass with the quench and hope that they play something
Yeah.
expensive, and then you can untap with Riddler and like go off hardcore. So
So this is like, I mean, everything you said about artist talent, like, was just completely proven, like right here. Like,
yeah, you drew the Riddler and like you ran out of cards to rummage because you had to stop rummaging. Yeah, here they play FOMO, so I don't know. I guess you're the
I
sign if you want to
actually
punch it. Yeah.
flinched this because if they pay for it, like, I thought that was pretty good for me. Um, I'll play this Riddler like risk free. I don't have to worry about any get outs or whatever. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's not crazy in this spot because of the weird fact that because you have Riddler and talent, and you're literally going to draw a million cards. So it is, I guess, it is pretty reasonable for you to like lock up that. Like, what are you gaining here? So like, you make them tap 2 mana, and then you untap with the Riddler. But like, maybe it's good the mana exchange because you're just going to draw so many cards potentially next turn. So it seems like reasonable. I don't know. It's kind of weird,
Yeah.
but like, it's not bad. I don't think it's a bad line because like you're just going to draw so many cards next turn. So okay,
Oh,
actually,
I ended up letting him play it.
yeah, I mean,
I
it's like a weird spot where you have Riddler and two talents, and it's like maybe all that matters now is mana efficiency, and maybe like I don't care about trying to get value for my quench. But anyway, so yeah, they just card a get out, which is kind of
yeah.
funny because we have a Riddler, I guess. So yeah, they do
Okay, the
this.
second one is
It
that's
works
how I
out.
remember doing it.
Yeah. Oh,
But
oh no,
then
you
I
can't.
realized, yeah, I can't. I forgot about this.
Yeah, I didn't I forgot about this
Oh
too.
yeah,
So that would have actually, I guess we should have discarded the quench the whole time. So to the talents or something. Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
And yeah, here it's kind of awkward. So yeah, you could play it tapped maybe, so that like I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to pay 2 life. Who knows? Maybe you're
Yeah,
supposed
I
to pay
think
two
I end
life.
up
It's just
paying
hard
two
casting
life.
Riddler. I don't even know honestly. Because yeah, you know how.
I
Okay, so
went for the risk here. Yeah, like I was like, I mean, they're gonna double attack me with the fears.
yeah,
I
so
block one.
yeah, it's kind of
I don't know.
weird. Yeah,
Maybe
because
it's
I
too
guess if they
hard.
basics, I mean, I guess if they basics your Riddler, then you're like, I'm just gonna. If you find a removal spell, so this seems fine because you're like, yeah, what I don't want them to, you know. I mean, they use two, but they
I
could
get
go like,
super bailed out here.
yeah. So you draw all the good stuff, I guess.
So here I could discard the quench. Um,
Oh yeah.
like I had to think through the sequencing.
Yeah, it seems reasonable to like lead on the monument so that you can make the treasure. I mean, they could like annul it. I don't know. This is like kind of weird. I mean,
Yeah,
you could play the wisdom. I don't know. It's kind of a tough turn. Uh, I don't know what's going on though
yeah. I
here.
decided not to prioritize the monument. I decided to. I mean, this is pretty risky. They got a mana up.
Oh,
I don't know. They haven't
uh,
had a. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna discard the quench and play the accumulate wisdom for one. Um,
okay.
I think is what I
Yeah, it's kind of
basically
weird because
throw
like
the
there might
grand
be
grand
worlds
away.
where like you want to block with the FOMO, but it's kind of tricky, I guess. Yeah, this gets you the discount. Okay, so yeah, seems not crazy, I guess. So yeah,
I was thinking about what if I just discarded the wisdom here? This is pretty terrible.
yeah. I mean, if you discard
And the
the island,
land.
this is kind of bad.
What did I? Oh, and then I ended up. I don't know what I'm doing here, man. I guess I wanted to see the. I figured that I'm dead to the FOMOs anyway. That yeah. So I'm thinking through what's going on. I'm dead to the FOMOs anyway. So let me see an extra card with the rummage. I'm probably throwing my grand away. And then I discarded the island because I already played the land, and then play the accumulate wisdom for two, um, and discard the quench and draw stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah, but you probably wanted to do the discount as you were saying, right? As like you probably wanted to
can you
discard the
cut out? Can you
quench.
hear me now?
Oh, can you hear me? Testing.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Well, I was gonna say you probably want to discard the quench, right, to get the discount because like you have to, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah, yeah. So here I discard. First I discard the monument, then I discard the quench, then I let the wisdom resolve. um, Draw two combustion techniques to kill the FOMOs.
okay. Yeah, I mean that was kind of a weird turn to min max the sequence thing, like, but yeah, okay. So it all worked out in the end.
It
That's,
all came together in the end.
yeah. Yeah, there was kind of like was the mon like yeah, there was some weird things happening. Like you could have considered playing the monument free combat and then you can attack and then you can discard this thing and then
Yeah,
you can make the
I want
treasure.
to go back.
Because I think it might have made sense. Like if you chump attack, maybe it makes sense to play the monument because the monument can actually kind of maybe rent like it pays for itself back almost because you make a treasure now and you can make a treasure on their turn. Yeah, because
Right.
here you could have gone also it like gets your hand size lower maybe. So yeah, you could go like here cast monument, and then you can like discard. Yeah, actually yeah that would have been because then you don't even need to attack. Yeah,
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I would have drawn. I would have drawn two off the Riddler. Right.
I mean maybe we're scared of
If I did that.
what should I call it a null or something. But like you could potentially yeah play monument and then you can make the treasures back. Basically, yeah, I was thinking it could be good
Yeah.
because well the monument here it's 3 mana. If you think about what it's doing, it's 3 mana, but it says draw 2 cards, make 2 treasures this turn. So it's like 1 mana, draw 2 cards basically. Um,
Yeah.
and also
I
it sticks with one. Yeah.
so the what was going through my mind was and why did I tap too many? Oh, I played the wait. What did I do here? Oh, the Riddler. Okay. I needed to draw two removal spells to basically live. If I play the monument here and I make a treasure from the rummage, the wisdom isn't going to get me out of this, right? Like I'd basically be dead to
Yeah, because you lose the discount on their turn, is what you're saying.
right. Yeah.
Um,
I guess if I draw two instant speed removals, I would basically I wouldn't be able to get the instant speed removals off of the wisdom, right? Because then I wouldn't have enough mana to cast both of them.
yeah, because the total mana you can
Because
have is 6 mana, but you can only cast. So you could go. Well, you could potentially go. So you go play Wisdom. You play Monument now, attack, make a treasure, and then yeah, you can't really play Monument here, I guess, because of the way things. Because
I
like if
have
you
to do
play
it on their
Monument, they
turn.
block.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's no different. No. So yeah, I guess I lose the discount is the issue, but
yeah. I'm
yeah,
trying to
I
think
don't
it
know.
through. Well, you don't
Maybe
need
that.
to actually. You don't need to attack because the Grand Doe is the thing if you play Monument, because you could go play Monument, discard Quench, then you get the discount, and then you don't need to attack with the
Oh,
Grand.
right, right,
Because because then you could
Okay,
yeah you could
that's
yeah
what I was missing. Yeah.
yeah you could just
Yeah.
pass the
Okay.
monument,
All right.
discard quench, and then you go cast accumulate wisdom for 1 mana, um, and then yeah, do it all, and then you can pass
Yeah.
his brain right up, so you might only need one removal. But the main reason not to play Monument, I think, is if you're like fearing they have a null. You're like, okay, like can I afford to play around a null in the back of your head? Because like if you play Monument, it's like maybe they can annul it, but you do still accomplish a small thing of like being able to like you cast the Monument, and then you can I guess you already played the land, so yeah. Like yeah, maybe like a reason not to play Monuments if you're scared of a null, but it's like can I afford to like play around a null because I'm also dead on board? But maybe it feels like they have it, so I don't know. Because like that.
Yeah, I guess in that case, like they have two cards left in hand. I'm either playing around the null or I'm playing around removal, right? Like a boomerang basics or something like that. Or I don't know what's the instant speed one. I forget the name of it.
Torch the tower.
The
Well,
get
like the thing
fish.
is, like you could potentially, yeah, you could potentially like not care about removal if you just get rid of all their guys. Um, because like the monument
Yeah,
play is like
yeah,
kind of conservative because you can just go cast monument, discard quench, draw 2 cards, then you get another rummage trigger,
yeah,
uh, rummage a bunch, then you go cast if it resolves, you cast wisdom for 1 mana, make a treasure, and then you're probably gonna like what I mean. You get more looks at everything, whatever you go off. But if they have a null, they can interact with you. So it's like, can I afford to somehow play around a null? But I don't know. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the
yeah,
thing to keep in mind. Yeah, it's just yeah the discount. Like
yeah,
I mean, it's the discount, whatever. Okay, so yeah, things keep happening.
yeah.
You
Very
attack.
complicated turn. So yeah. So
Yeah,
this is basically accumulate wisdom,
but I mean it's
find double
complicated, but like
technique.
the core question really is just like, can I afford to play around a null? Yes or no? Because like, if they don't have a null, then all you have to be thinking is how good is my turn? Like, can I beat them if they don't have a null? Because like, if they, if like obviously the only reason not to play monuments if they have a null, right? So you should just be thinking, okay, what's my turn gonna be? If I don't play this this thing, and how's it gonna be?
Yeah,
And that's what you have to be thinking about because it's like it's kind of once you realize that playing monuments good, you know, then you're like the only reason it's not to is like yeah that. But anyway, so it all works out in the end. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah, they're doing that. You're like okay, you're doing this. Hope they don't have Riddler and Siege or something. It's funny you're not looting. Yeah, I could see you looting like the Spell Pierce or something maybe. You know,
I don't know why I didn't loot right there. At the very least, a
maybe it's
land
scared of death
too, right?
because
Like,
you have 21 cards.
I mean, 21 seems pretty reasonable,
Yeah,
right?
maybe yeah. Maybe you're like
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
have all these spider senses. I want to get them. Okay, so
Yeah,
choose
no,
one.
I probably just on autopilot. So yeah, play Monument for two, lead with that,
You know, they scoop.
and they scoop.
I mean, to be fair, you gotta draw
Yeah,
like 10
was
cards.
that an early scoop?
I don't know. I think it's reasonable,
I don't
but
know.
because you're gonna draw like 5 cards if
Yeah,
you say they have nothing. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's kind of aggressive,
yeah,
but it's not great. It's not like a crazy scoop. Yeah.
yeah. So
Uh,
that's it, man.
yeah. That
Oh yeah.
maybe next time I gotta put a 5 or 10 minute break in the middle because my brain's starting to get fried. To be honest with this.
Yeah, sorry, man. We just went through three matches with my bizarre playing. But yeah, man. I have more from the same challenge, but I'll probably play the limited event tomorrow. So if are you playing that event tomorrow? The super qualifier, or is it a super? I forget exactly what it is. Um the Moto limited one.
I wasn't planning to, but maybe I should. I forgot that sometimes in new in this time they put a bunch of challenges on Moto. I've almost been only playing Arena. I don't. I was doing the math. So I was like, because I did my recap of how many directs I played. I'm like, man, I played like an average of 3 sealed games a day, or I don't know what it was this year. But which sounds like not that much until you're like, wait, they only do directs like once every 3 weeks. So I was almost only like that was kind of my mood. I was like, I haven't really been playing much Moto stuff, but well, the thing is, they kind of have this format exhaustion now. Like I was saying, like I'm like really picking and choosing what formats I play in because like saying about playing standard the last year, like I played standard, for all the PTs or whatever, and I'm like, man, like they were rotating like crazy. So that's why I haven't been
Yeah.
keeping super up with Moto. I'm like, I play the Arena Directs and I'll play the PTs, and sometimes I keep an eye out for Moto, but they really changed the format a lot these days for sure. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know if you're big on like I think the one tomorrow is like it's a RCQ basically, but except instead of with like 16 people in your LGS, it's like 300 people on Moto. And like
yeah.
I don't know if the EV's really there for that, and if that's your thing, but
Well, maybe like
I
the
it's
supers.
like because they're so big.
Yeah, I mean, they could be
Yeah.
a fun tournament if you want a tournament to play. Like the only reason I probably won is I'm like, because I'm grinding all the directs, so I'm like taking a break, from the 10 round seals between them. I mean, it might be a good EV because
Yeah.
if you go on, I mean, you can go on the GoBots website and see what the EV is actually. I think the supers are probably pretty good because they give like pretty high payouts. And I played the box thing like a couple of weeks ago, and I think I went 6-4, and it was like 300 people, and I still top 64 because everybody was dropping. And it's funny too because I think I like punted the last round. I was like so
Yeah.
mad. I'm like, man, I'm not gonna get my $15, whatever. Because I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose. And then I'm like, oh, I still top 64. And like everything, I was gonna have a that was tilting. But anyway, yeah,
I mean, with these, like, yeah, like you're. I mean, if you go like X3, you're like guaranteed to make your money back in a bunch of treasures. Like, but I mean, even then, like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to play like 10 hours just to make like 20 treasure chests or whatever it is. I don't know what the EV is of treasure
well, it's
chests,
good if you want to play
but for the
high stakes
practice,
sealed for a
it's
day.
decent. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly like it's more like the high stakes. Like you're not gonna get it. I mean, the directs you'll get it there. Although I haven't gotten to play many of them, like with the TLA. Um, but it's really more for like just practicing for I don't know like side events at the regional championship or maybe some RCQs, which are
yeah,
still
it's fun.
in the same limited format and stuff like that.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing about directs. Like directs, for anybody, like it's probably the best way to progress your like the mental game or the tilt game. Like I always like every time I play direct, after it I always feel like I came out of set like I'm enlightened or whatever. And then like, immediately the next one I play in, like I'll lose one match and I'm like I never wanna like I quit. Like I can't take it. So what I mean? I always like I figured out the secret.
Yeah.
I figured out how to have a good you know mental game in this event. Then like it's just like it always happened. Like it's I mean I figured good ways to cope with it, but yeah, it's like you lose like directs are really yeah they can be punishing for the mental game. There's a lot of dimensions to it because like they're so
Yeah.
punishing. Like you lose. Well, one of the things is the fact that it's like is sealed particularly because the thing is like let's say you build your sealed deck. If it's me, probably spend like half an hour building my sealed deck. Now I show up, you join the queue, you make a small mistake and you lose because of your small mistake, and now you're 0-1. So then like okay, now you're 3-2, you got out. And then it's like, okay, now you have to build a whole new sealed deck. It's gonna take another half an hour. And it's like the fact of like and like it's a uniquely like feels anyway, I won't get like if you play directs and you need mental coping, I know I have a lot of good techniques. But I'm always surprised because I have like
Oh
such
yeah,
a
I'm gonna have to hit you up on that.
I have like such an
Maybe
elaborate
I have
system
some
of like
decks
not
that I go
tilting
through.
basically. Like I spent so much time like trying to maximize like being like focused or whatever. And I'm always and like it's funny because I'm like yeah I'm like so enlightened now. I played so many directs and then it always happens like I play a direct I lose I'm like this is like so sickening like oh my god like I played so bad. I'm like I have to. I mean, but the technique I always use is I'm just like, what did I like? What did I learn from the match? Play to learn. I go right. I have a notepad open. Like whenever I make a mistake, like I have to, write it down what happened because otherwise it just lingers. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad, Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, the Rex, yeah. I will say if you get tilted in the
You should
Rex, yeah,
you should put that article out that you were talking about. I
the
actually think
field
that would be
one.
pretty. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be talking about the tilting aspect of it, but
I
I
mean,
think it'd be
maybe a
pretty
little bit. The
useful
mental.
for
I mean,
for.
I think people do have. I do think people like don't have like I think it's like important to touch on it a bit because there is one thing that's weird about the directs that I've noticed this comes up is it's like one of the only tournaments where time efficiency matters in a weird way. As in like you're literally gonna have decisions in a direct where it's like, should I like take a 99% chance to win? Or should I take the 100%, but then I have to play 5 more minutes and then I have to value the minutes, right? That's like kind of like a weird thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, it literally only happens in directs, like no other event. So And like I think I kind of real like I kind of the way I play the Rex is I'm like every match pretend it's the World Championship finals. So I'm focusing, and I'm like I don't care. I'm just gonna take my time every match because it's like trust me. Like if you take a 99% line and then you lose and you knew that you were giving something up just to win faster, and then you're like oh my god that was sick. So and like I think most people actually are in the mode of they play faster. Like I don't care. I'm gonna spend 1 hour. I'll spend how much time I want building my seal deck. You know, some people are like, oh, I don't want to spend too long building my seal deck. I want to play. It's like no, don't. I'll spend 3 hours if I need to building the seal deck. I don't care because I'm just treating it like it's the World
Yeah.
Championship Finals. Because otherwise, I mean, it depends for the person, you know. But for me, like I can't play. Like it feels too bad if you're playing and you're losing because it's like so punishing to lose. Like even the thing like my win rate's really good, and I don't think I make probably more than like $30 an hour in these. So it's like you really can't you really don't have breathing. Yeah, I mean it depends on your mental game, but I think most people are like I think most people yeah they just value spamming the queues, and I don't think that's sustainable. I mean I think there's a reason I probably have some of the most matches in the directs. It's because I'm not spamming the queues. I'm doing it at a sustainable pace or whatever. Um, and
Yeah,
I'm
that's crazy. Yeah, because like I'm definitely like I just go straight into it. Like and it doesn't. I got tilted to hell. Like like I think I have a pretty weak mental game now that we're talking about it a bit more. Like I mean, even some of these matches that we played, like you could tell they're like there's certain parts where I just kind of gave up. I'm not playing lands or whatever. Like I'm just like kind of going through the motions, waiting to lose or whatever. Yeah, I mean that could be a whole subject in and of itself. Is just like your mental game, your fortitude, like when you're like in a losing spot or whatever. But arena is also like really like I don't know what it is about arena. Like when I'm playing any like even ladder games and stuff, it's like I keep falling into autopilot so easily. Like I don't know if it's the interface or what. Like there's just something about it where it's really hard to like treat it like a real game of Magic for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the one reason I know people are way too fast and loose with the like I know Magic players like I think it's a huge leak that they're like I just need to maximize the games I play rather than play quality because like I like all this double queuing stuff like I feel like double queuing is kind of crazy to me a little bit
Yeah.
like I'm like unless you actually like it like unless you just play on intuition like the people who say they double queue for value is kind of like a crazy concept to me because it's like well not only is it kind of weird to like I mean I like the thing is I feel like if you want to make you know if let's say you're crazy enough to want to make money playing Magic, I think the best way to do it is to increase your win rate, not the matches. Because like look at the players like
Yeah.
anyway I won't go into it that much because I guess maybe it's not a problem, but I feel like it's kind of like normalized to double queue, and I feel like it's kind of crazy because it's like not it's like kind of miserable. You're ruining your win rate. It's like what are you even doing? I don't know. Maybe people like it if they're like I'm an intuitive player. I'm just gonna be I don't know, or but whatever. But yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely feel like the whole idea of double queuing, like if you actually think about it, like doesn't really make sense from the monetary perspective or from the enjoyment perspective, unless for a lot of time. So I think that kind of applies to the directs too. Like you could think if you're rushing the directs, it's almost kind of like double queuing it. But anyway, yeah, that's one thing I realized because it does come up. Like it'll literally happen where I'm like making a decision and I'm literally like I don't want to think about it, whatever. So I try and like be in a mindset where I'm like pretend it's the World Championship Finals because then it's like easy to actually focus on the game and take it seriously. And that's what I'll do. Because also like one problem I have with directs is like I want to like listen to music, but I know I'm gonna play. Like if I'm listening to music, like I'm kind of autopiloting. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
if I'm
Yeah.
like yeah, if I'm like
Damn.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like if it's the World Championship Finals, like I'm not gonna be listening to like Britney Spears or whatever. But like if I'm playing the direct,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I'm like, it's more it's like more entertaining or whatever, like less thinking. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good. Like, there's like some like fundamental cheat codes that you can have. You're like, okay, if I was playing the World Championship Finals, how would I treat this? You're like, okay, like I would probably spend more time building my deck and playing more seriously. And I think yeah, that's kind of how I'd be approaching directs. And also yeah, I mean, one thing, yeah, the best cope and it's just being like instead of like the problem is it's like it's way easier to like have a good mental game if you don't care about winning and you're just like I'm just trying to make the best play and learning. And if you're just like yeah, when you like one thing
Yeah.
I realized was like on arena drafts is like I remember one time I was drafting and like I don't and sometimes you're playing and you kind of get on tilt because you lose and you're like it's tilting or whatever. But there's sometimes when I'm playing and like you don't care what like if you're in a mindset where you're just like what did I learn from the game and like then it's way easier to not tilt. Or like let's say you're tilting you're like, okay, I should be asking like, what did I, I'm tilting now. What did I learn from the, what did I learn from the game? Whatever. Like that's why it's useful to like write down your mistakes or whatever, because then at least you feel like you get something out of it. And often they're like the mistakes aren't as bad as you think, or if they are, at least you wrote them down. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of layers of like. Although the thing is, I mean, it's like the common trope that like the people who are like the let's say if your goal is to win as much as possible, the kind of counterintuitive thing is like the most optimal mindset to be in is a guy who doesn't care about winning at all. Um, which
Yeah.
but it makes like you see it in reality because like if you like look at a guy like Simon Nielsen, he's a guy who if you actually like listen to what he says, he doesn't come off like he cares about winning or like you know what I mean, like you know
Yeah, he comes off like he's just in having a good time. Like that's the attitude that he seems to
yeah, or
always
even
carry.
like the pros or even like the thing, yeah, like I did listen to an interview recently that was kind of interesting, and that's kind of striking magic. I was listening; they were asking this guy. It was this guy who does like philanthropy, and they were asking him like, how does he find people? And he's like, one thing I realized is that like you can't get mercenaries, like you can't get people who like are in it for the money because that's what people would think. They're like, you want the best talent, so you hire the most money. But he's like, it's just not going to work because like a lot of the philanthropy you have to just go way above and beyond, and it's kind of I mean that's kind of a
Yeah.
convoluted example, but it's like I mean I can give a good example like it's kind of like if you're like probably a way easier example is like if you were like I want to win a Grammy, you don't do it by being like you don't say I want to win a Grammy, what can I do? Like it's way easier if you're like what's some good good music I can make, you know what I mean? It's the same with magic. Like you don't if you're like I
Right.
want to
Yeah.
win a PT, like the way to think about it's not like I want to win a PT. The best thing is like how do I play as well as possible in the games? And the funny thing is, like, if you play as well as possible, then I mean that's the old meme of like if you play as well as possible, you don't care if you win or lose. All you care about is how well you play. You know what I mean? So it makes it easier. But then like
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to look at your motivation because like it's way easier to have a good mental game if your motivation is like not related to like the to any accolades. Because like as soon as your motivation becomes tied to any like I want to top eight this, I want to win this, whatever, then you're gonna be like you know what I mean. Then, but if your motivation is like I'm just trying to play as well as possible, I'm trying to learn or whatever, then it's just way easier. Because yeah, I even heard an interview with Sam Black, and he was like, they were asking him how does he deal with losses. He's like, oh, like I don't even care if I win or lose. I'm just there playing. He's like, I'm like way more casual player than probably most competitive people. Like, and it's like if you think like that, it's just so much easier to focus. And yeah, like one last example I thought that like illustrates it. Like with like uh like one thing I realized, like I had to, you know, like a couple, like a few years ago, I read the Buffett biography, and like I realized, like the reason he was like the
Yeah.
most successful of all time, it's not because he's smarter than everybody else, but he just like that's like he had more like motivation. Like he was literally just like reading 9 hours, like 10 hours a day. Nobody was out, nobody was like outworking him, if you know what I mean. And it's like, yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like you can't like it's just you can't even compete on the like literally like when I realized I'm like like it's literally impossible to do better than him unless you have the drive because like literally if it's just driven by an accolade or whatever you can't compete with the guy who's literally reading 12 hours a day for 70 years like it's just not going to happen if you can only compete at that level if you're driven like by inner thing and it's kind of the same in magic if
Yeah.
you yeah like if you like pay attention to a guy like
No,
Simon.
yeah. There's a lot of parallels to like the Silicon Valley and like the world I come from. Like the most successful people, like they're not just like trying to win or trying to like build the biggest company or whatever. It's a lot like what you're saying with the Buffett analogy. Like they're really just driven by like like a personal mission, like just trying to improve something in like society or in their own life or whatever. And like it's a core sort of driving system. It's not like just arbitrarily picking like a goal and like making it about meeting that goal. That's really interesting because like it just feels like you're suddenly talking about like more the world I come from, like tech startups and stuff like that, where yeah, just the most successful people like they seem to carry a lot of the same traits.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, if you just think about like the motivation and doing the process well, it's like to do as well as like if you're like my goal is to win, a PT, but it's like to actually achieve that goal, you should focus obviously like on the process, and focusing on the process means that you don't really care about those accolades. I mean, yeah, Buffett has a bunch of great quotes about it. He's like, if you want to win, he's like, the winning player has his eyes on the playing field, not the scoreboard or whatever. But like, it's really just about the drive, because like, it's just realizing like, if you're driven by accolades, like, it's just like, like I would love to make a bunch of money, but I'm just like, I don't want to read 12 hours reports a day. I'm just never gonna,
Yeah.
out compete them. So it's just being like, yeah, like what, like if you're running on accolades, it's just so much harder to compete on the energy. It's just so much easier when you align like the energy. Like obviously there's like a mix with stuff, but yeah, that's what I realized. Like yeah, like that's the tilt. Like if you're trying to play Magic for accolades, I mean, also it's a tough game to win in because like number one, it's like the events are like 1,000. I like it's a really bad game if your goal is to win in a way. Because like even if you go to 1,000 player event, most people won't top eight. Even if you top eight, you lose the quarterfinals, and you're like, well, I finally top eighted, and then I lost in the quarters, so now I blew it. You know what I mean? Like that's a real like you know what I mean? Like imagine you top eight your first GP and you lose the quarters. Like what? The first time I top eight GP, I'm like, man, if I lose the quarters, like maybe I'm gonna quit. Like that would be horrible. I mean, it depends how competitive you are. Like some people are happy. I'm not like if I'm in the quarters, I'm like okay, like now it's time to lock in. You know what I mean? Like this is like now it's
Yeah.
really embarrassing if you lose. And but like that's what it, yeah. And like it's just like yeah, Magic's like the way it's structured is it's like not a good game. Like yeah, it's just hard to win in. But obviously people want to win. But it's like the pain is preordained because like literally you could be Steph Manfield and he's gonna win. He wins like 62% of the time or whatever at the PT, maybe 65%. That means he loses like 35% of the time. Like you kind of have to realize that like going into any match you're gonna lose a lot of the time. And then it, like that kind anyway. So yeah, those are some things. But then yeah, like I
Yeah.
say all this, I know all this, I write it all down. Then I play one match in the direct, and I'm like, oh man, like that was disgusting.
I mean, I
Yeah,
love it, dude. If I can get to a point where I go into a big tournament and even if I didn't do that well, like results wise, I feel like I played my best. I think best is a relative term. Like, played my best, relative to my level of skill. And I would feel really happy with that. Like the thing that always tilts me the most, honestly, is exactly what you're saying. Like knowing that I could have done better. It's not even really about the results. It's about like, I mean, sometimes you just have like a bad day. Like I think like my first round, like I had to mold to like 5 or 4 or something, and then like the next game, like I drew nothing but lands. Like sometimes you just have non-games. It's just like things aren't going your way, and it wasn't meant to be, and that's all good. But like if I played to the best of my abilities, and I feel like I didn't throw games away, like I would personally like if I can get to that point, like that's what's driving me right now. But I do think like Magic Twitter and like the Magic, I don't know, I guess like the social media aspect of like the competitive scene is kind of toxic in a sense though, because like all you see is like people posting up their results, and I think it creates a lot of pressure where you just feel like a loser if you can't put up similar results. It's really interesting. Like I try to stay away from it as much as possible and just like focus on my games and like I don't know what we're doing like coaching and stuff like that. But it could be like I think for anyone trying to get better at Magic, like I would actually say Twitter is like a really bad place to be. It's why I quit initially because I used to ladder a lot and I used to like Ginky, like I used to chase him to like the number one spot on the ladder and stuff. Like I remember one time I played like it must have been like 12 games like where I won 12 matches in a row on the arena ladder. I was at number 2 and I couldn't like get to number 1 because Ginky had like got to number 1 and like won proceeded to win like another 20 rounds or something just to lock his spot there. It was just so toxic when I think back to it. Like I never want to play that kind of Magic ever again where like I just all to post on Twitter and say like I got number 1 or whatever. Like
yeah.
it was
Just the worst part is you post number one, and then you'll get Alex Hayne or somebody responding like, "So what?" They're like,
right, dude.
they'll make that's what they were making fun of. They're like, "Oh, you're number one." They're like, "Yeah, well, like, why don't you come to a PT then?" And show. Yeah, I mean, I would say, well, the
Right.
thing is,
Yeah,
well, some of just counter like so much of the stuff is like counterintuitive, but I think Wall Street's a good example. I mean, there's a famous Buffett quote when they said, "Why didn't you ever move to New York?" And he's like, "I would have been rich in New York because everyone would have been screaming in my ears." He's like the point of doing this is you have to think. He's like, this is a thinking game, so you need quiet. And like it's kind of Magic Twitter. I
yeah.
mean, I'm not saying it's Wall Street, but there is similar incentives where it's more about like sales. Like it's more about a lot of people are like it's more about sales than like the actual what you're doing. But also like some of it's kind of like one thing I realized like that I find triggering is when people will say like won the tournament, it was free or whatever. and you know what I mean. You see what I'm saying. Uh,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I realized like the reason that that bothered me so much is it's like if you say that, like it's like I like the most competitive people are like competing against themselves, and they're always trying to optimize. Like if you talk to somebody like Paul in the finance world, like there was a famous there like this was a good quote about like Magic Twitter. That made me realize about Magic Twitter. There was a quote where they like interviewed Soros, and they went to the top of the building, right? And as the journalists went to the top of the building, everybody was saying how easy it was and how much money they were making on every floor, right? Then they get to the top floor and they talk to this guy, and the guy's like basically his hair's coming out. He's like heavy breathing. He's like, I have no idea what's gonna happen. And then obviously that guy Soros, who's like way wealthier than every person in the building. And like it's obvious if you think about why, it's because he's not competing relative to other people. He's competing against like what's optimal. Like it's like that's the same thing. If you listen to like Simon and
right.
Paulo, they're never competing against other people. They're competing against what's optimal. If you're competing against what's optimal, it's never easy. You know what I mean? Because it's always could be more optimal, right? It's like the same with
Yeah,
so that's the problem. Like if you're free, then it's like it's yeah, you can be like there's a difference between competing against other people and competing against what's optimal. And if you're competing against what's optimal, it's like never really easy in a way. You're gonna be like hyperventilating. So I mean you need to then it's just but yeah, I think that's one thing. That Soros example really made me realize like yeah, like if you, it's never really easy if you're competing against, yourself basically rather than, other people or whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think they have that
I
problem.
love that, man.
But yeah, I mean the last closing thing because I guess it's the thing I realized about the accolade thing and playing because yeah it's like on the one level you're like okay yeah I'm gonna play to try and play as well as possible and I don't care about winning but then the pain can come in when you play badly and you're like why am I even doing this like maybe I don't like I should I should give up or I should do something else or like it's too hard but yeah, so that's tough. But yeah, like one thing I find that helps is like if I'm like losing or I'm on a losing spree, I just be like, okay, like what did I learn from those matches? Like let's say I'm drafting and I go 0-3, it's like okay, why did I go 0-3? Like did I think a card was good? You know what I mean? Um, yeah, the real
Yeah,
struggle is just yeah when you're like okay, like maybe I'm putting too much effort into to something that's like too arbitrary. But that's definitely like yeah, that's like a you know yeah. Anyway, that's some closing
yeah.
thoughts there.
I should do that more often, man. I like your like just writing down your mistakes. I probably don't do that enough. Where even on Moto, like I just kind of treat it all like fleetingly. Like the replays have helped a lot though. Like since we've started the coaching, like I've had to like start recording the replays. I get to watch them more often now, and like I'm facing my plays and like just my style of play and stuff like my mistakes a lot more recurringly now, and that's been really helpful. But I think I'm gonna start doing that where like when I know I made a mistake, I think I'll just like write it down and I mean I'm sure I could like they, I think that's like one thing most people are afraid to do. Like I know a lot of Magic players do this where it's just always about like luck or it's about what they did wrong or what someone else did someone else got luckier than them, they got unlucky. It's never really about like what I could have done better. um I noticed that's like it's really rampant, especially like on like when you're playing like leagues and stuff and you get like the weird salty messages and shit like it's
Yeah, I
just
love
like
that Arena has no
I have to
chat. I can't lie. I play with emotes muted.
I know man yeah I have the emotes muted too
Maybe
man.
that's why I don't go back on Magic Online, because the chats are weird as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I got one the other day. This guy's like, "Man, it feels really bad to lose to noobs like you. Just when I draw 12 lands in a row, and it's just like shit like that is daily, dude. I'm like, why don't you
Yeah.
look at yourself? Look at the
Well, there was a
resilience
good
you have.
meme
You're
because I
fucking.
used
I
to.
don't know, man.
I would get in trouble because I used to sometimes I would egg people on like if they would get salty, I'd say the mistakes they made, and that ended up me making some real enemies. Like people would get really mad in the chat. Like one, yeah, like there was one time I posted like some guy was like threatening. He's like, "What? Don't you live in Montreal?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you Trudel?" No, no, I hope Trudel's not listening to this. But like one guy's like, basically I was giving him like I was like like he was complaining that he got unlucky, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, what about all these like mistakes you made?" And then he's like, "Don't you live in Montreal?" And then I'm like, "Oh yeah, like is this so and so?" But they said it like in a threatening way or whatever to be a tough guy online. And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? Come say hi." And then but anyway, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would just say the reason, yeah, I find it really helpful because, like, if I make a mistake, it's like agonizing. Like, it's like haunting me. Like, I'm like, I can't handle it. Like, like you make a mistake and you're like, whatever, like this tournament's done. But as soon as you write it down, you're like, okay, like it wasn't that bad, or at least, it's just then it can stop haunting you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I
because
love
you make a punch,
that.
although
Yeah,
like the
I'm
worst,
gonna start doing that.
yeah. like sometimes it'll happen like you like I when I'm playing at the peaks and stuff, I'll literally like write down a life path. Like let's say attack, and then my opponent just blocks. I'm like, oh shit, that was like a chump attack. And like then like I'll give an example. Like one time my opponent had an aura and I just didn't see the aura on their creature, so I just attacked, and then my creature just died. And then I just wrote down like didn't realize they had an aura to attacked into it. Whereas like if I didn't do that, you know what I mean? It might be like I mean that one was kind of so obvious that it wouldn't tilt me that much. But there's like on the level where things like that happen. Like let's say you don't play a land and then they quench you, and then you're like, man, I give up. Like I want to drop from the tournament and try again. But if you write it down, you can move on with it. Yeah.
Yeah, love that, man. Hell yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing it.
Keep the
Cool. Hey,
morale up.
when did you say you were available again? I forgot what days we were talking about for this week.
You said Wednesday. I mean, I could maybe do Tuesday night, like at maybe 7 plus. But we said
Okay.
you said Wednesday and Monday and Wednesday, I think.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, Wednesday is good for me. A little earlier in the day because I think I got family New Year's
Yeah,
stuff. But cool. Yeah, I'll hit you up on Discord and we can work out the time and all that.
yeah, sounds good. Also, the one good thing about writing your
Awesome.
notes is it's like it's humbling in a way because I have like so many pages of punts, and I'm like you like the thing is when you start doing this, you'll be like, wow, I literally make mistakes like almost every game. I thought like maybe it's like okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. Like after I
dude.
do
Yeah, I mean,
I'll have like a whole page open to read through. Yeah.
I don't think there's ever been a single game of Magic where I felt like I've played perfectly or anywhere close to that. So I mean, it'd still be, but I also like. I mean, there's also games where I'm unaware of where I played poorly. That's one thing. Like even the, like that one game we just went through where like from the mulligan, I just made the wrong moves. I mean, it's great because like there's stuff I obviously make mistakes with where I realize maybe after the fact, like a few seconds